Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 digital desk. Got some breaking news that we are following right now as we come to you 8 o'clock on a busy Tuesday morning. Want to show you this. This is I-240 Walnut Grove and Poplar. You can see this accident that is still very much active here, just disrupting the morning commute on this Tuesday. And we have some information, an update for you. The Memphis Police Department investigating a car crashing into an officer's patrol car. So according to Memphis Police, officers responded to a single vehicle crash at 5:08 this morning, I-240 in Poplar. While investigating this crash, the patrol vehicle, the officer's patrol vehicle was struck. That's according to Memphis Police. One male suspect is in custody there on scene. As a result, as you could see here, 2 westbound lanes have been blocked off here, including one shoulder lane. And this is still very much an issue. This happened a little bit after 5 o'clock. It is now 8 o'clock, and it is still very much an issue. So we're going to continue to follow this. Again, this is I-240, Walnut Grove, near Poplar, westbound lanes. Okay, so you can see there a police cruiser struck by someone else as that police cruiser and as that officer was investigating a crash. Again, we'll update you here on the Action News 5 digital desk in connection to that. Also want to bring you another update to a story we've been following. These 2 men, Memphis Police Department say, they've arrested these 2 men in connection with a deadly shooting at Privé back on March 30th. Privé, of course, that restaurant in Acre Hill where there was a shooting, 2 people dead, 5 others injured from gunshots. The first suspect on the right, 26-year-old Johnny Sanford, charged with first-degree murder and convicted felon in possession of a handgun. Investigators say during the investigation, Sanford was developed as the suspect who shot Larry Bailey. Bailey was taken to the hospital where he died. Sanford was a convicted felon. He pleaded guilty to robbery September 2007. The second suspect on the left, that's 31-year-old Damon Sykes. He's charged with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, possession of a firearm, possession of a prohibited weapon. In the surveillance video, according to investigators, one man wore orange clothing. Sykes is accused of taking a pistol from that victim by force and then firing the shots. Now, officers found Terrio Alexander several gunshots. He did not survive from his injuries. And according to the affidavit, a witness told police that Sykes wore orange. That witness also said he brought the suspect to Privé. So that is another story that we are following. These 2 men arrested and charged with first-degree murder, among other charges, this morning. Finally, I want to show you this. This is a shot here. If I can pull it up really quickly here. This is a shot of the MLGW outage map as we come to you on a Tuesday morning. It looks much, much better compared to what we saw just a few days ago after the storms moved through here on Friday night. There were tens of thousands of outages. It is down to just 1,600 or so, 1,606 to be exact. That's MLGW customers, homes and businesses without power this morning. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner, that means people with power, it's back up to over 99%. So 99.6% of MLGW customers do have power Tuesday after last Friday's storm. So that is good news as we come to you on a Tuesday morning. Let's get an update on the forecast. Unfortunately, we have a first alert weather day tomorrow, Wednesday. Meteorologist Brittany Bryan has details on that.
Good morning. There's a 3 out of 5 for our severe weather threat tomorrow. You don't have to worry about any severe weather today, but that 3 out of 5 is for everyone in West Tennessee, most of eastern Arkansas, a little sliver of DeSoto County. Damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, all possible. But the main thing that we'll be monitoring here with this weather system will be those damaging winds. That's where I'm putting it a medium threat for that. Low threat for tornado and hail. Again, still possible to see those 2 things though. And everyone likely will see some heavy rain with this system. So let's talk timing. Today, as I said, we're not going to see any severe weather. Might see a stray shower around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, and we'll deal with the clouds all day today. Now, an isolated strong thunderstorm can't be ruled out overnight tonight into early tomorrow in eastern Arkansas, but it looks like greatest threat will be up towards Jonesboro and north going to the Missouri Boot Heel. This is 9 a.m. Still not much showing up, but in the afternoon, instability levels are going to skyrocket. Anything that develops could be severe. You could get a spin that creates a tornado. You could get some damaging wind gusts right around lunchtime. This is 12:30 from Tipton County into Dyer County, even in Shelby County in spots like Memphis, Bartlett, Cordova, getting that potential for some heavy rain and thunderstorms. 5 o'clock, those thunderstorms continue in Shelby County into Fayette County, North Mississippi, from Olive Branch all the way down to Clarksdale, getting some strong to severe storms. After sunset, though, so after 7 o'clock, those instability levels drop. Now, you will still have a lot of heavy rain, especially in West Tennessee and North Mississippi along and south of I-40. As that front stalls out, it's going to keep that rain around. So we'll see that threat for everything else drop significantly, but you'll see an increase in that flash flooding threat by late Wednesday into early Thursday. Those wind gusts tomorrow will probably be around 30 to 35 miles per hour for most of the day. If you get a severe thunderstorm, those gusts could go up to 50 miles per hour. Plan for power outages tomorrow, just in case you want to have the flashlights and everything ready to go. Now, we'll end up with about 2 inches of rain in North Mississippi. Like I said, that's a spot where we'll have to watch for flash flooding as that front stalls out. It'll stick around probably through Thursday morning at the very least in Oxford and Marks. About an inch of rain expected to Memphis and closer to a half inch in our northern counties. Today, you won't have any rain, but you will have the clouds. 79 degrees at noon, 82 at 1 o'clock. With that wind in place, may not still be the best day to sit on the patio, even with that warm weather. Because winds today will be whipping 25 to 30 miles per hour, and you'll have windy conditions tonight too. But the high today in Memphis is 85, 86 in Summerville, mid 80s in Brownsville and in Ripley, right around 85 degrees in Tunica, 86 in Olive Branch, but 87 in Ashland, 88 degrees in Oxford today. Very warm, and it will also feel more humid, and then lower to mid 80s from Marion, Mariana into Helena. If you want more details on the temperatures today and on those severe weather chances, you can look at First Alert Futurecast on our First Alert weather app. Just search for WMC in the App Store, and you can download that one for free. So we're in the 80s today, a low temperature around 70 tonight, 77 tomorrow. Warm air again is one of the ingredients you need for that severe weather. We'll have temperatures in the mid 60s on Thursday and then lower 60s Friday. So temperatures are going to drop behind Wednesday's cold front. And then over the weekend, I can't completely rule out a stray shower Saturday, but it looks like the weekend will be mostly dry and no rain expected Sunday on Easter, lower 70s.
Okay, coming up on Action News 5's digital desk beginning at 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking about the MLK anniversary. Today is the day 55 years ago the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel. We will go live there, bring you an update on some of the events that are happening today. I'm sure you've heard about ChatGPT. Well, we have an interview here, a live interview this morning on the Action News 5 digital desk. Apparently, there is a program that has been made to detect ChatGPT whenever it's used. And so we're going to be talking about those people that have developed this program to detect it. Also, we're going to be talking much more about storm relief, storm coverage, and the aftermath of deadly tornadoes that hit Memphis and the Mid-South last Friday. So I want to start there and talk about restoration efforts. We're learning that more of the deaths of 3 people killed in Friday's storm. A neighbor concerned about the family asked police to check on them after seeing a tree on their home. This happened in Memphis in the Oak Haven area. Investigators say they found the bodies of an adult and 2 children on South Edgware Road. A friend of the mother tells us that the mother's name was Charney Ingram and her 5-year-old twins, Cameron and Chase. The destruction across Memphis and the Mid-South in the wake of last Friday's tornado outbreaks, of course, very devastating for so many people affected directly or indirectly. Walter Murphy shows us how they're getting the help they desperately need.
Well, the man in Wynne, Arkansas compared the town to what he saw during Operation Desert Storm, a war zone. And Wynne is just one of the towns reeling after multiple tornado outbreaks destroyed homes and businesses across the Mid-South. That same man, John Pearson, told me that they need help now more than ever. A lot of that help is coming from President Biden's disaster declaration that came by request from Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves. So far, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, seen here touring the devastation in McNairy County on Saturday, has not sent that request to President Biden, asking for the same federal assistance that's helping Arkansas and Mississippi jumpstart debris removal and get the utilities turned back on for thousands of people. Something Governor Sanders says that she's grateful to have, and the FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell says she's happy to give. Well, the man in Wynne, Arkansas compared the town to what he saw during Operation Desert Storm, a war zone. And Wynne is just one of the towns reeling after multiple tornado outbreaks destroyed homes and businesses across the Mid-South. That same man, John Pearson, told me that they need help now more than ever. A lot of that help is coming from President Biden's disaster declaration that came by request from Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves. So far, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, seen here touring the devastation in McNairy County on Saturday, has not sent that request to President Biden, asking for the same federal assistance that's helping Arkansas and Mississippi jumpstart debris removal and get the utilities turned back on for thousands of people. Something Governor Sanders says that she's grateful to have, and the FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell says she's happy to give.
We are here for the long haul, Governor. We are going to be with you through this process. We know that this journey is going to be long, but it also comes with the ability for us to build it back and bring in mitigation to make it stronger and more resilient.
Some local groups are taking donations as well. On Wednesday, Shelby County Criminal Court will be accepting donations at Kroger on Poplar and Highland for Covington, Tennessee from 7:30 in the morning until noon. They'll be taking donations for drinks like Gatorade and Capri Sun, toothbrushes and toothpaste, deodorant, and food items that don't have to be cooked. There are a lot of other groups taking donations and asking for boots on the ground as well. You can find that information on our website. But for now, reporting in studio, I'm Walter Murphy, Action News 5.
And Action News 5 and our parent company, Grain Television, are partnering with the Salvation Army for Storm Relief Drive. You can text the word storms to the number on your screen there, 51555, or visit gray.tv/relief to donate. We have heard so much about Hyundai Hope for Wheels. It is celebrating 25 years with a record-breaking $25 million donation to fight childhood cancer. Get this, every 36 minutes, a child is diagnosed with cancer in the U.S., and Memphis, of course, being the home of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We know all too well about childhood cancer and how that can affect so many families across this country. Let's bring in Kevin Riley, Hyundai Hope on Wheels board member, along with 11-year-old Oliver Foster, a 11-year-old survivor, cancer survivor. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Andrew.
We're good.
It's good to have you guys here today. So it's been 25 years since Hope on Wheels was created. Briefly tell us about this organization and what has it been like over the last 25 years?
Well, Andrew, thanks for having us. And it's just truly an honor for us to work with all the researchers throughout the nation. Hyundai Hope on Wheels began as a very small charity back in 1998. And in 25 years, we've grown to an organization where this year we'll donate $25 million in pediatric cancer research grants, bringing our lifetime total to $225 million in grants.
That is fantastic news. Congratulations to you and the organization. Kevin, Oliver, I want to ask you, tell us about your own personal battle with cancer and why you're being an advocate to help others.
So, when I was 5 years old, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, or ALL. Excuse me. The next day, I started treatment. After 3.5 years, I finished treatment on June 14th, 2020. And why I'm trying to help is because it's very hard to go through treatment, and I feel like nobody should have to go through what I did.
Wow, Oliver, congratulations on winning this fight here, and God bless you for all that you're doing and showing how strong you are. Kevin, I want to ask, what changes have you seen in the 25 years in this fight against pediatric cancer?
Well, it's interesting, Andrew, if we think about our own lives and the advancements of technology from 1998 to now, we see the same in the area of pediatric cancer research, where we can use new technologies to get results faster and move us faster to a cure. But Ali had mentioned about treatment. And so the great thing about technology, too, is there are less invasive treatment options now for children going through cancer treatment, making life after cancer that much better.
Oliver, I want to ask you, what would you say to a little one out there, perhaps someone your age that just got that diagnosis? What would you say to them to kind of lift their spirits?
I would say that you can be scared and still be brave, and to keep trying.
That's great. I love that. Just the power of positivity. Kevin, the focus on research is so important to fight childhood cancer, right?
Oh, absolutely. And so, Andrew, what most people don't realize, if you take a look at the landscape of federal funding for cancer research, only 4% actually goes to pediatric cancer research. So organizations like Hyundai Hope on Wheels coming into this space and funding critical pediatric cancer research at St. Jude's and in Washington, D.C. and California and everywhere in between is critically important to move us ever closer to cures for these cancers.
Okay, and where can people go for more information about Hope on Wheels and where people perhaps can make a difference?
Well, Andrew, they can go to HyundaiHopeOnWheels.org, and there they can learn more about the incredible research that's being undertaken at St. Jude's and all across the nation. But they also can, and I think more importantly, learn about the stories of brave cancer fighters like Ali and really be inspired by them. So we encourage you to go to HyundaiHopeOnWheels.org.
Oliver, I just want to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up?
An architect.
Oh, yeah? Tell me why.
I like drawing.
Good enough reason, right? Awesome. All right. Well, Kevin Riley, Oliver Foster, we really appreciate your time. Congratulations, Oliver, in this fight, and Kevin, congratulations on 25 years. Really appreciate it. Again, it's HyundaiHopeOnWheels.org. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Well, today marks 55 years since the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated at the Lorraine Motel balcony, April 4th, 1968. It's a day that certainly will not be forgotten. We have Action News 5, Sydney Hawkins, live downtown at the National Civil Rights Museum as the museum prepares for special events to commemorate this anniversary. Sydney, good morning. Tell us about some of these events that are taking place later today.
Hey, good morning to you, Andrew. You can already see some of the preparations taking place behind me, but there will be several events today. First, one starting in just a few hours at 10 o'clock, and then going all the way into this evening until around 5, but just commemorating the day that Dr. Martin Luther King was shot and killed at that balcony here at the National Civil Rights Museum, as well as just highlighting the importance of the role that he played in our country as well as just around the world. I just spoke to an organization from New York that's putting on a play for the event. They say they put this play on, or they have put this play on for more than 10,000 people, I believe, but they are bringing in artists and musicians and just different people from the Memphis area to put on this play. So again, just one of the events that will take place at 10 o'clock this morning.
I know that this is a day that everyone kind of marks down as a day to really kind of stop and commemorate Dr. King, his life, his legacy. Are there other events that you could tell us about that the Civil Rights Museum is going to be a part of today?
Yeah, so the Civil Rights Museum will host 2 of these events. They're hosting a panel of speakers from 11:30 to 12:30 today, and then later this afternoon they're going to host something at 4:30 here. And there will also be a wreath-laying ceremony hosted by members of the late Dr. King's fraternity members. He was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and some of his brothers will be here at 4:30 later this afternoon doing a wreath-laying ceremony. So several entities just paying their respects again to the late Dr. King.
I see a lot of people working behind you, but can you describe a little bit of the mood on this April 4th anniversary? Do you notice anything? I know, you know, and the reason I asked this, Sydney, is because I was there for the 40th anniversary, the 50th anniversary. There's something about these anniversaries where the tone is just a little bit different outside the National Civil Rights Museum. Tell me what it's like down there.
Yeah, Andrew, this is actually my first anniversary of his assassination. I've been to the museum, of course, as someone that just wants to be a guest, but this is my first time being here on this date of April 4th. But the mood is, of course, it's somber because, as I said, Dr. King lost his life on that balcony that you see, but it's also an inspiring mood. The people that I spoke to who are here to put on this play, they say they understand the importance of lifting Black voices. A lot of the playwriters and the musicians and performers that will be in this play are of African American descent, and it's the same group of people that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was advocating for. We know he was here at the time of his death, specifically advocating for people, sanitation workers here in the city of Memphis who were fighting for better pay and overall better treatment. And the people who are commemorating him now 55 years later also understand the importance of his trip here and the importance of why he did the work that he did throughout the country.
Sydney Hawkins, we really appreciate your coverage this morning. Thanks very much, and appreciate all that you're doing down outside the National Civil Rights Museum. Thank you.
I'm doing something that I love to do.
So am I, pure and simple.
You don't do this for 26 years if you don't like it.
This month's Mid-South Heroes are a pair of crossing guards with the Germantown Police Department who put on the uniform and a smile each and every day. Peggy Grammer has been a crossing guard for more than a decade, while her co-worker, Faye Lester, has been at it for over 25 years. These two are at their posts every morning and afternoon, dealing with traffic, parents, and weather.
The worst part for me is lightning. I don't mind the rain. I don't mind the cold. I don't like the hot, but I do not like lightning. Do not.
And I'm basically the same. The lightning really is the hardest part of standing out here.
I can deal with the cars. Just keep the lightning away.
I've actually been hit, not hard, by a car, but really, it's just all in a day's work.
Faye and Peggy can be seen weekdays at area schools like Houston Middle, directing parent traffic, bus traffic, and their favorite part of the job, helping students cross busy streets.
That's the draw. You just love the kids.
Faye's the best.
You don't do this job for the money or anything. You do this job for your love of the kids. And there's nothing like these babies. I mean, they're like our grandkids. They're ours, and I even have kids come back with their kids. So yeah, it's an awesome job, and that makes me feel happy that I make someone else happy.
You see them every day. You know they're, if they're having a bad day or whatever, you're going to know it because you're one of the first people that see them.
These two heroes have a simple but important request.
These kids' lives are important, and trying to get people to stop and let us get these kids safely across the street, some days it's all we can do. And if people would just take a moment to realize that these kids' lives are in really big danger, it would be nice. Just slow down just a little bit. You might get to where you're going 2 or 3 minutes later, but you're going to get there, and our kids are going to be safe.
It's scary sometimes how close they come. Just have patience with us because we're doing the best we can, and sometimes it isn't a difficult situation. And kindness always wins out.
Congratulations, Faye and Peggy. You are this month's Mid-South Heroes.
Yeah. All right, so we all know about ChatGPT. We've heard about it. It's been in the headlines now for weeks, if not months. It's essentially a artificial intelligence program that allows people to write all kinds of essays and documents and various structures. And for students across the country, they're using ChatGPT and other technology to cheat on their homework assignments, their essays, that sort of thing. And professors and teachers are having a really difficult time distinguishing ChatGPT writings versus the actual students' writings. Well, there is now a tech company that has designed a program, it says, that will make it harder for students to cheat and allow parents and teachers to detect if students are using programs like ChatGPT. It's fascinating, right? Because we've heard so much about it, but now there might be a program here to combat against it. That's why we have brought in Annie Ciccitelli, Chief Product Officer with Turnitin. Annie, I hope I said your name right. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you doing, Andrew?
Doing well. So tell me about, first off, let's explain to everyone if maybe they've heard about ChatGPT, they don't know how it works. Let's explain how it works for our audience.
Sure. So ChatGPT and other text generators are large language learning models. They are very predictive. So they write based on the next word. So they take the prompt that was written as well as everything they wrote before to predict the next most probable word in that sentence, and thus that's how they write. They're not writing for meaning. They're not writing to create a story. It's a very different way of writing than humans do. And so it leaves this trace or a statistical trace that we're able to detect because of the way that it chooses the next most probable word.
I was talking to someone last fall, someone who works for the SAT, ACT board, and they told me that ChatGPT is extremely challenging for them because it's hard for them to determine essays, and schools and universities a lot of times require essays for students and base that on possible enrollment. And so they were really kind of wringing their hands wondering how they would be able to detect ChatGPT versus a student's actual writing. But I understand your tech company has developed a program to detect it. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, and so we, Turnitin is a company for the past 25 years focused on academic integrity. And this is just an extension of our core business, which was started out as similarity detection. So looking to see if something a student submitted is similar to something on the internet or perhaps another paper. And so this is just an extension. It uses different technology, though, than obviously our similarity detection, in which we're able to, because we have been working with student writing for over 20 years, we understand even different grade levels of how students write. We're able to create a model that compares that to ChatGPT writing or any other program that uses GPT-3 or 3.5 to determine if there are the differences, and we're able to see the statistical significance that the students submitted of the different words to determine if there are traces of AI writing.
So give me an example of how it would work. So if let's say a student submits an essay, for example, would they then put the essay into this program by Turnitin, and then Turnitin would say, okay, you know, based upon what we're seeing, this is ChatGPT, you know, a percentage of, you know, tell me how it would work.
Yeah, sure. So the good news is that we already have an established workflow that students are used to because of our similarity detection. So students already have a path for submitting their assignments to Turnitin, and teachers already have an interface by which they're comfortable working. And we show them today, for the similarity, we show them a copy of their submission and highlight places where there is similarity to other documents. So that already exists. And so what we've added to that interface is a button, so kind of like a flag, that says AI rating, and it gives a percentage, and it's a percentage of the document. But we encourage all teachers to learn more. Don't just take what it's, you know, just across all our tools, right? Don't just take what the percentage is, you know, make sure that we want the teacher to click into that to see line by line where we think ChatGPT or another tool was used to create the paper. And then that gives the teacher the ability to have those conversations with the student. We believe that it shouldn't just be taken as a detection of cheating, right? We think that the teacher is going to make that determination based on what they find and what evidence we provide them.
Sorry about that, Annie. I'm having some issues with my mic. Is there anything that says there is a success rate when it comes to this program from Turnitin? You know, is it 80%, 90% effective in catching ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so we have tuned the model in a specific way to err on the side of safety. And what we mean by that is that we only indicate to teachers that we suspect AI writing when we're 98% sure. And so we turned that dial up. But at the same time, we want to make sure we're reducing false positives as much as possible. And so in order to balance that, in our lab tests, we predict that we probably miss about 15% of AI writing, so as to keep that false positive rate quite low. And so we think we catch up to 85% with 98% confidence, but with a less than 1% false positive rate.
Wow, it's so interesting to hear about this. First with ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence programs, and then your program that catches ChatGPT writing, that sort of thing. It's wild. Where can people go, perhaps parents, teachers, for more information on your new program?
Yeah, so teachers who use Turnitin can learn more within the interface that they're already using. There are a whole bunch of tools and best practices and FAQs to help teachers educate themselves and learn more, not just about our program, but about the use of these tools in general. And then parents and other people can go to Turnitin.com on our website, and you can learn more about our AI writing there.
All right, Annie Cecchitelli, Chief Product Officer with Turnitin. We appreciate your time this morning. A fascinating development with regards to ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence programs. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.
Good morning. There's a 3 out of 5 for severe weather threat tomorrow. You don't have to worry about any severe weather today, but that 3 out of 5 is for everyone in West Tennessee, most of eastern Arkansas, a little sliver of DeSoto County. Damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, all possible. But the main thing that we'll be monitoring here with this weather system will be those damaging winds. That's where I'm putting it a medium threat for that. Low threat for tornado and hail. Again, still possible to see those two things though. And everyone likely will see some heavy rain with this system. So let's talk timing. Today, as I said, we're not going to see any severe weather. Might see a stray shower around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, and we'll deal with the clouds all day today. Now, an isolated strong thunderstorm can't be ruled out overnight tonight into early tomorrow in eastern Arkansas, but it looks like greatest threat will be up towards Jonesboro and north going to the Missouri Boot Heel. This is 9 a.m. Still not much showing up, but in the afternoon, instability levels are going to skyrocket. Anything that develops could be severe. You could get a spin that creates a tornado. You could get some damaging wind gusts right around lunchtime. This is 12:30 from Tipton County into Dyer County, even in Shelby County in spots like Memphis, Bartlett, Cordova, getting that potential for some heavy rain and thunderstorms. 5 o'clock, those thunderstorms continue in Shelby County into Fayette County, North Mississippi, from Olive Branch all the way down to Clarksdale, getting some strong to severe storms. After sunset, though, so after 7 o'clock, those instability levels drop. Now, you will still have a lot of heavy rain, especially in West Tennessee and North Mississippi along and south of I-40. As that front stalls out, it's going to keep that rain around. So we'll see that threat for everything else drop significantly, but you'll see an increase in that flash flooding threat by late Wednesday into early Thursday. Those wind gusts tomorrow will probably be around 30 to 35 miles per hour for most of the day. If you get a severe thunderstorm, those gusts could go up to 50 miles per hour. Plan for power outages tomorrow, just in case you want to have the flashlights and everything ready to go. Now, we'll end up with about 2 inches of rain in North Mississippi. Like I said, that's a spot where we'll have to watch for flash flooding as that front stalls out. It'll stick around probably through Thursday morning at the very least in Oxford and Marks. About an inch of rain expected to Memphis and closer to a ½ inch in our northern counties. Today, you won't have any rain, but you will have the clouds. 79 degrees at noon, 82 at 1 o'clock. With that wind in place, may not still be the best day to sit on the patio, even with that warm weather. Because winds today will be whipping 25 to 30 miles per hour, and you'll have windy conditions tonight too. But the high today in Memphis is 85, 86 in Somerville, mid 80s in Brownsville and in Ripley, right around 85 degrees in Tunica, 86 in Olive Branch, but 87 in Ashland, 88 degrees in Oxford today. Very warm, and it will also feel more humid, and then lower to mid 80s from Marion, Mariana into Helena. If you want more details on the temperatures today and on those severe weather chances, you can look at First Alert Futurecast on our First Alert weather app. Just search for WMC in the App Store, and you can download that one for free. So we're in the 80s today, a low temperature around 70 tonight, 77 tomorrow. Warm air again is one of the ingredients you need for that severe weather. We'll have temperatures in the mid 60s on Thursday and then lower 60s Friday. So temperatures are going to drop behind Wednesday's cold front. And then over the weekend, I can't completely rule out a stray shower Saturday, but it looks like the weekend will be mostly dry and no rain expected Sunday on Easter, lower 70s.
March is National Endometriosis Awareness Month. Got a couple days left. Got to get in this one. It is certainly time to really kind of talk about this underdiagnosed condition. And joining us on the digital desk to talk more about it is Dr. Sarah Zebarth with Methodist Olive Branch. Dr. Zebarth, thank you for joining us. Let's talk about what exactly is endometriosis. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, endometriosis. Yeah, so endometriosis is a condition where the endometrium, or the lining of the inside of the uterus, actually grows places in the pelvis that it shouldn't grow. So you can see little implants of that tissue growing either on the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, and the lining of the pelvis, and it can cause a lot of problems for women. So you can get really painful periods with this. Women get lots of chronic pelvic pain, and long-term you can get fertility issues as well. So it's actually a pretty common and underdiagnosed condition, which can have a lot of long-term effects on women.
Yeah, I have heard about it, and it sounds painful. Can you talk about some of the signs and the symptoms so our viewers kind of can understand what to look for?
Yeah. So the most common complaint we get is women who have very painful menstrual cycles, and they'll come in to our office complaining of such severe pain. They're not able to do their daily activities. I have women who have gone for years just being in their bed for a day or two out of the month, and there's just an abnormal degree of pain. Also, you can get pain with other daily activities. I have a lot of patients who have pain with intercourse, pain with urination, pain with bowel movements, and long-term these symptoms can kind of progress and get worse. And then some women even develop kind of long-term chronic pelvic pain as well.
So why is this an underdiagnosed condition, and how does it impact fertility? I'm curious.
No, that's a great question. So we think around 6 to 10% of women have endometriosis, but it's very hard to prove because we're looking at very small microscopic implants and sometimes only a few millimeters. So it's not easily picked up on ultrasound or any other kind of imaging that we have available. So we really rely on the clinical picture and some classic symptoms and treat women for suspected endometriosis. But the only way to prove a diagnosis of endometriosis is actually through surgery with a biopsy, where we can take a piece of that tissue if we see it, send it off, look under the microscope, and see that it's endometrial cells.
You mentioned treatments for people with endometriosis. What kind of treatments are available, doctor?
Yeah, so endometriosis is a tissue that responds to hormone stimulation. So it's actually the hormones in your ovaries that make the endometriosis flare up and become painful. So what we often do is try to suppress the ovaries. So a lot of times we'll give women hormone therapy. Typically birth control pills can be very effective treatment at quieting down endometriosis and stopping the progression of it over time. So the mainstay therapy is hormones, and long-term surgery may be required in some patients, but not all.
Okay, and we have thousands of viewers that join us here on the Action News 5 digital desk, doctor. So if you're talking to the women out there, what would you like to tell them this morning so that they can, get a heads up, talk to their doctor if they have some of these painful symptoms?
Yeah, I would say my biggest word of advice is just speak with your physician and let them know the symptoms that you're having, and keep being an advocate for your care and get answers, and know that there are multiple treatments out there. And if you've tried something that didn't work, don't get frustrated. There are other things that we can do. A lot of this is kind of trial and error, and we go from one step to the next, but a lot of times we can find really successful treatments for women long term. The other thing that's really important is to know to get treatment early, because endometriosis does progress over time and it can lead to infertility. So in younger women, you might not know that, but I have a lot of women who come to me later on in life and by then have a lot of scarring on the fallopian tubes and things like that. And so we want to be proactive with treating that gynecologists.
Okay, so March is National Endometriosis Awareness Month. Dr. Sarah Zebarth with Methodist Olive Branch. We really appreciate you joining us, kind of explaining what it is, the symptoms, the signs, and how very important it is to talk with your doctor if you suspect you have any of these symptoms. Thanks so very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Okay, a discussion will be held on Thursday to possibly expel 3 Tennessee state lawmakers, including Memphis State Representative Justin J. Pearson. Action News 5's Bria Bolden has details on that.
They are trying to take away the vote and the voice of our community.
In a historic move, the Republican-led Tennessee House of Representatives will look to expel 3 of its members: Memphis Representative Justin J. Pearson, Knoxville Representative Gloria Johnson, and Nashville Representative Justin Jones.
We spoke up to advocate for gun reform, to stop the epidemic of gun violence in our state. And the punishment for doing that is expulsion from the House. This is wrong, it is unjustified, and it is undemocratic.
It comes after thousands of Nashville students and parents rallied at the state capitol last week demanding gun reform. Pearson, Johnson, and Jones joined in on the House floor with a bullhorn. The House had to go into recess, unable to do business for about an hour. House Speaker Cameron Sexton told Action News 5 then, quote, 3 Democrat members chose to willfully ignore these rules and decorum in an attempt to shut down today's proceedings by insurrection. The 3 Democrats told the Tennessean after the incident their access to House members' office building and parking garage was, quote, restricted. Johnson and Jones restricted their committee assignments Monday.
It prevails.
House lawmakers voted 70-22 to move a resolution to expel Pearson to Thursday. Protesters in the gallery could be heard yelling and chanting. Speaker Sexton quickly called for state troopers to clear the gallery.
Trooper, unfortunately, the members cannot hear. I ask you to clear out the balcony, please.
Audio feed of the House session soon cut off, and a camera remained stationary on the voting screen. The House eventually voted to also move resolutions for expulsions for Johnson and Jones to Thursday.
I want to talk about this Holy Monday, that God is not pleased with injustice, and that the light will shine, and that no matter what you do to us, we will not bow down.
Representative Jones, you will have your chance to defend yourself on Thursday.
Former State Senator Katrina Robinson from Memphis was expelled last year after being convicted on federal wire fraud charges. The House will be back in session on Thursday morning to discuss the expulsion of these 3 members. Want to show you a little bit from Fourth Bluff Park. That is a park that's in the heart of downtown Memphis. There's art from a gallery in New York that's made its way to Fourth Bluff Park, and we spoke with George Abbott with the Memphis River Parks Partnership about this new art exhibit. Take a look.
This is a celebration of self-love, of representation, and something that we can all really be proud of. Bringing all power to all people here just helps to emphasize what we try to do every day, which is create a riverfront for everyone. You know, I think it's a beautiful piece in and of itself, but the meaning behind it adds kind of a layer of meaning that's very profound here in Memphis. The way that the artist has imagined this sculpture will make you feel, but like with any piece of public art, it's kind of open to your own interpretation. So I would say come down, take a look at it, see what you feel, see how it hits you, because that's what art's for, really, is to make you feel.
All right, we got 2 weeks from today. That is tax deadline day. April 18th it's this year. Usually it's the 15th. But that's on a Saturday, and then Monday is Emancipation Day in D.C. on the 17th. So 18th is the tax deadline. Well, last day you can send it through mail or hit send electronically. We've got a few extra ways that you can file your taxes in a clean way, but we also know that there's some changes you need to know about. This was a subject in my morning's Best Life Report. Check it out. 2023 comes with a standard deduction increase to $12,900 for single filers and married couples filing separately, $19,400 for head of household filers, that includes single parents, and $25,900 for married couples filing jointly. As for charitable donations, the $600 charitable deduction for non-itemizers, people taking the standard deduction, has gone away. If you found yourself with hefty medical bills in 2022, you can deduct any medical expenses above 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. If you're self-employed, there are a bunch of deductions you can claim on your tax return, including travel expenses and the home office deduction. But if you're one of the millions of people who work remotely, you won't be able to claim the home office deduction since it's reserved for self-employment people only. And if you're on the road for work, you're looking at 2 mileage rates. 58.5 cents a mile applies for travel from January through June last year, and it's 62.5 cents per mile from July through December. You got kids? Well, here's a tax credit just for you. The child tax credit lets you credit up to $2,000 per dependent child under the age of 17. The income limit is $400,000 for married filing jointly, and $200,000 for all others. The IRS is telling people to expect smaller tax refunds in 2023 for 2 reasons. There were no economic impact payments in 2022, so taxpayers won't get an extra stimulus payment in their 2023 tax refund checks, and expanded tax credits and deductions like the child tax credit and charitable contributions deduction reverted back to pre-COVID-19 amounts. With ways to live your best life, I'm Andrew Douglas, Action News 5. All right, Memphis Grizzlies division champs are headed to the playoffs once again. They currently hold on to the number 2 spot in the Western Conference, a full 2 games ahead of third place Sacramento. They lost that game on the road Sunday against Chicago. It was a game where they were up by 23, and then they got trounced in the second half. They ended up losing that game by 21 points, but the team has got to come together heading into the playoffs if they want to make a decent run. Take a listen.
We always talk about just be yourself, play to your strengths, but play to your strengths as you are as a person. So I think it's credit to the guys. We just talk about, the togetherness, that's an element of it. You just embrace it, and they make fun of each other, being comfortable in your own skin. When you can be able to do that at a professional level in a team environment, I think it kind of brings you together a little bit more. It's credit to the guys. They just embrace each other, be comfortable in your own skin. Don't take anything too personal. Just be who you are. It's great to see over the 4 years.
All right, Grizzlies will play their last home game tonight. It's at 7 o'clock against Portland. The Showboats, yes, the Memphis Showboats getting ready to open their regular season. It's the first time in 40 years they're back on the field. Their game is Saturday, April 15th against the Philadelphia Stars at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis. You can get your tickets at theusfl.com. Well, the UConn Huskies are men's basketball champions once again. Yes, they beat San Diego State last night in quite a lopsided victory, 76-59. It's the program's 5th national championship. Congratulations to UConn on one of the craziest March Madnesses in recent memory. All right, opening night for Chicago, celebrating 25 years, is tonight. We got a chance to talk to a cast member with Memphis Ties last week about the show. Check this out. After 25 years, Chicago is still the one musical with everything that makes Broadway shimmy shake. A universal tale of fame, fortune, and all that jazz, with one show-stopping song after another and the most astonishing dancing you've ever seen. And guess what? It is coming back to the Orpheum next week, and we are so excited to welcome James Vessel. He is part of the ensemble, and he was also a Memphian for a short period of time, worked at Ballet Memphis for a while when he was here in Memphis. He joins us now at the digital desk. James, it's so great to talk to you. How are you? Tell me how you've been. How's Chicago? And tell us when you were in Memphis. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to say thank you so much for having me on this morning. It is such a pleasure to be a part of this iconic show. I joined the show about a month ago, and I have been just in awe of the cast and the talent, the crew. Everyone is just so gracious about welcoming me into the cast. I just am enjoying my time here, going to different cities that I've been to before, haven't been to before. Getting to share the art of this show is just such a pleasure. I'm so excited to come back to Memphis. I enjoy my time in Memphis so much, especially working with Ballet Memphis as well. So I'm really, really excited that we get to stay in Memphis for a full week and do a show at the Orpheum Theater, which is an iconic theater. And I always enjoyed performing at the Orpheum. And I worked at the Orpheum for a little bit as well while I was in Memphis.
That is awesome. It's a full circle moment, I guess you could say. So tell me about this professional opportunity for you. When you tried out for the part, you got it. What was that moment like when you found out that you're joining it? Because as you say, this is an iconic presentation that so many people know about for the last 25 years, scores of awards and honors and distinctions, and now here you are, you're part of the cast.
Exactly. This process was actually like no other that I've experienced. I sent in a virtual audition where I had to do different dance numbers from the show. Obviously, the iconic moment of jazz, and I had to do a segment of Roxy. I had to do a singing portion and 3 short monologues. And I submitted that through my agent, and it was maybe a month and a half later when I found out that I was cast in the show. And I received the email saying that I was cast with a contract, and was told, hey, you have a week to join us on tour. And so I had to pack up my life for 6 months and within a week. And I learned the show within a week as well, and was put in right away. So it's just been an amazing experience. One that I have never experienced so far, and I'm learning so much through every show, through my downtime. There's always things that I'm still learning about the show, and more further development and the characters that I'm playing and the role that I'm in for this entire segment of the show.
Tell us exactly when we're going to see you on stage. What characters are you playing? And tell us what the response has been so far on the tour.
So for the show, I open as an actor, a player in the show. I'm supporting Roxy, I'm supporting Velma, and different parts in the show. And then I come in as a reporter where we're trying to get information from Roxy throughout the show. And then towards the second act, in the second act and later in the show, I start to become the bailiff, where I am supporting the court and trying to get things moved along to get the actors, to get Roxy and Billy to get into the courtroom scene. And then I become the jury, where I am playing 6 different characters throughout the entire scene, and am reacting to the story that's being told for the very first time. So it's very interesting to go in and put on these different hats throughout each scene that I'm playing. So it's a really fun show.
That sounds fantastic, James. Tell me how your time in Memphis helped prepare you for this role.
My time in Memphis definitely prepared me for this role. While I also was dancing with Ballet Memphis, I did shows with Playhouse on the Square. So I built a theater community there in Memphis. So I'm really excited to see my theater friends as well. I did many musical theater shows while there. So I got to sing and dance and act for about 6 or 7 different shows within my time span in Memphis. So yeah, it definitely directed me into going into more of a musical theater Broadway track. And I fell in love with musical theater while I was in Memphis. Actually, my first musical in Memphis was Memphis the Musical at Playhouse on the Square. So it's like really cool that, Memphis just is a part of my journey and getting into musical theater and Broadway.
That is fantastic, James. Congratulations on that. Tell us what time period, what time frame did you live in Memphis?
2015 to, I believe, 2018.
Okay, all right. There, okay. So for someone who might not know much about Chicago, the musical that's coming next week to the Orpheum, what's the best way to describe this show, this production coming?
The best way to describe this show is you have a young woman, Roxy, who is wanting to be a star and is willing to do anything possible to make that happen. And along her way, she finds people who want that same thing. And yeah, they end up getting it in the long run.
Fantastic. What's the first thing you're going to do when you have some downtime in Memphis?
Oh, definitely get barbecue. Going to Central Barbecue.
All right.
So
Well,
excited.
James, really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so very much. And best of luck. Congratulations to you and your professional career. It's great to see you're doing so well. And looking forward to having you return to Memphis later.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
In April. Yes, absolutely. Take care of yourself. Good stuff. Okay, it is Tuesday, and we are joined by one of our favorites here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, Talisa Franklin with WAVN The Trend, to give us an update on the community, the culture, and the conversation. Talisa, good morning. How are you doing on this Tuesday?
Man, amazing, my brother. How are you?
I am amazing as well, and I'm just curious as what you got going on. A big weekend, of course, Easter weekend. What's going on?
Yes, let me tell you, there's nothing like the Bluff City, baby. I can tell you, we have the best community events. We have the best community this side of heaven. And so let me tell you, this weekend is all about the kiddos and, of course, the seniors. Just going to have a good time for Easter weekend. So I want to give you some stuff that you can do every single day, starting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, to celebrate Easter. And so this Friday, y'all, this is going to be really cool. Reach 360 Church is doing something so phenomenal. They're doing glow in the dark. Yes, Easter egg hunt, which is happening on April the 7th, this Friday night. Listen, it starts at 7:30. It's from ages 1 for grades 1 through 12. So all the kids, bring your flashlight, because you know what's going to happen. Cash, gift cards, freebies, cake, splash, my God, candy, and 35,000 eggs. It's going to be a great night, y'all. Glow in the dark Easter egg hunt happening right here in Memphis. Reach 360 Church. That's happening right on Highway 64. Listen, for more information, just go to reach360church.com. There's so many great things happening. So that's what's happening Friday night. So kids and parents, you got something for your children to do all weekend long. And then on Saturday, I invite you to join me and so many of my friends as we have my second annual Easter extravaganza. Let me tell you, it is truly an extravaganza. If you know anything about me, baby, we're going to do a big and fun for the kids and the seniors. I tell people I love children and I love senior citizens. Let me give you a rundown of what's going to happen, right? We're going to have over 10,000 Easter egg hunt that's going to happen right there at the Hollywood Community Center. Then we're going to have Easter baskets, not just for seniors, the senior citizens, and not just for children. So we're going to have Easter baskets for senior citizens, where it's all about you. And this year, I made sure that we wanted to make sure there was a space that senior citizens can have fun. So we have a really big tent just for senior citizens, and we're going to have the bunny hop for seniors. We're going to have fun game for senior citizens. So it's going to be all fun for them too. So while the kids are bouncing over the inflatables, playing the games, winning all the prizes, getting ready for the Easter egg hunt, eat all the free hot dogs, popcorn, and cotton candy that they want. Yeah, I said absolutely free, right? Because this event is so dear to my heart, because doing something for children and seniors means so much. And I'm just so excited that so many of my friends are coming, especially Mr. and Mrs. Easter Bunny. And listen, the good thing about Mr. and Mrs. Easter Bunny, I make sure you get a free picture. So if you want to take a picture with Mr. and Mr. Easter Bunny, you get the picture free. We print them on a spot. I'm so grateful for a great team so that everybody can walk away with great memories of what happened. But let me just say this. I could not, absolutely not do this without people that care about the community just like I do. There are so many partners that came in and said, Talisa, I just want to donate. I just want to support. I just want to volunteer. And I was like, yeah. Yes, but I want to say some special up to Sleeves Up West Tennessee. And so let me tell you, Sleeves Up, have you got yourself vaccinated? So if you have not gotten vaccinated, listen, we will have ShotRx will be there at our community Easter extravaganza. So you can come and get vaccinated, get your children vaccinated as you have a great time. Leadership Memphis, Volunteer Memphis, y'all know Volunteer Memphis, Leadership Memphis. Shout out to President, CEO Reggie Crenshaw that is doing a phenomenal job. And so, you know, I'm alum. I love Leadership Memphis. And listen, UT Health Community Engagement, Oak Street, Humana. There's so many partners. So Talisa, what can I do to make sure our children and our seniors have an amazing time? So listen, this Saturday, 12 to 2, all roads lead to the Hollywood Community Center. You know I'll be there jumping around like a bunny myself, y'all. We're going to have a great time for our second annual Christmas Easter extravaganza. Listen, if you want to be a part of it or you want to do something, you know what to do. Call my office, 901-213-6438. Again, 901-213-6438. And we'll be more than happy to get you plugged in. And so after we're doing all the good Easter egg hunts on Fridays and Saturdays, y'all know what time it is, right? It is time for us to go to church. Well, this year, church service is at the Botanic Gardens, y'all. I love the Botanic, right? Easter sunrise service. Shout out to Second Presbyterian Church for the sunrise service at 6:30 in the morning at the Botanic Garden to celebrate Christ's resurrection through triumph of hope over despair, light over darkness, and light over death. Listen, bring your lawn chair, bring your blanket. This is going to be a fun event. Come out to the Botanic Gardens and let's have Easter sunrise service together. Hey, it's going to be a great weekend. Just make sure you stay connected because y'all know I'm trending what's happening in this community.
Talisa, you bringing the energy this morning. Tell me what's going on in the show today.
Well, we'll talk a little bit deeper all the things that we're going to do for Easter this weekend because I wanted people to get a very detail of what we're doing, how we're going to bring. We're going to bring the smoke, baby. We're going to bring the heat in Memphis, in North Memphis at that, for our young people and our senior citizens. So I really pray that everybody bring our children out and definitely bring grandma. Don't leave grandma and granddaddy at home. Bring grandma and granddaddy out. Girl, we're going to have a bunny hop. I can't wait to see grandma dancing, honey. It's going to be fun. That's what we're going to be talking about, the details of what's happening on Saturday, Andrew.
All right. Talisa, I love you so much. I appreciate you coming on the Digital Desk each and every week. You're the best. Take care of yourself.
Bless you. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Good morning. There's a 3 out of 5 for our severe weather threat tomorrow. You don't have to worry about any severe weather today, but that 3 out of 5 is for everyone in West Tennessee, most of eastern Arkansas, a little sliver of DeSoto County. Damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, all possible. But the main thing that we'll be monitoring here with this weather system will be those damaging winds. That's where I'm putting it a medium threat for that. Low threat for tornado and hail. Again, still possible to see those two things though. And everyone likely will see some heavy rain with this system. So let's talk timing. Today, as I said, we're not going to see any severe weather. Might see a stray shower around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, and we'll deal with the clouds all day today. Now, an isolated strong thunderstorm can't be ruled out overnight tonight into early tomorrow in eastern Arkansas, but it looks like greatest threat will be up towards Jonesboro and north going to the Missouri Boot Heel. This is 9 a.m. Still not much showing up, but in the afternoon, instability levels are going to skyrocket. Anything that develops could be severe. You could get a spin that creates a tornado. You could get some damaging wind gusts right around lunchtime. This is 12:30 from Tipton County into Dyer County, even in Shelby County in spots like Memphis, Bartlett, Cordova, getting that potential for some heavy rain and thunderstorms. 5 o'clock, those thunderstorms continue in Shelby County into Fayette County, North Mississippi, from Olive Branch all the way down to Clarksdale, getting some strong to severe storms. After sunset, though, so after 7 o'clock, those instability levels drop. Now you will still have a lot of heavy rain, especially in West Tennessee and North Mississippi along and south of I-40 as that front stalls out. It's going to keep that rain around. So we'll see that threat for everything else drop significantly, but you'll see an increase in that flash flooding threat by late Wednesday into early Thursday. Those wind gusts tomorrow will probably be around 30 to 35 miles per hour for most of the day. If you get a severe thunderstorm, those gusts could go up to 50 miles per hour. Plan for power outages tomorrow just in case you want to have the flashlights and everything ready to go. Now we'll end up with about 2 inches of rain in North Mississippi. Like I said, that's a spot where we'll have to watch for flash flooding as that front stalls out. It'll stick around probably through Thursday morning at the very least in Oxford and Marks. About 1 inch of rain expected to Memphis and closer to a ½ inch in our northern counties. Today you won't have any rain, but you will have the clouds. 79 degrees at noon, 82 at 1 o'clock. With that wind in place, may not still be the best day to sit on the patio even with that warm weather. because winds today will be whipping 25 to 30 miles per hour, and you'll have windy conditions tonight too. But the high today in Memphis is 85, 86 in Somerville, mid 80s in Brownsville and in Ripley, right around 85 degrees in Tunica, 86 in Olive Branch, but 87 in Ashland, 88 degrees in Oxford today. Very warm, and it will also feel more humid, and then lower to mid 80s from Marion, Mariana into Helena. If you want more details on the temperatures today and on those severe weather chances, you can look at First Alert Futurecast on our First Alert weather app. Just search for WMC in the App Store, and you can download that one for free. So we're in the 80s today, a low temperature around 70 tonight, 77 tomorrow. Warm air again is one of the ingredients you need for that severe weather. We'll have temperatures in the mid 60s on Thursday and then lower 60s Friday. So temperatures are going to drop behind Wednesday's cold front. And then over the weekend, I can't completely rule out a stray shower Saturday, but it looks like the weekend will be mostly dry and no rain expected Sunday on Easter, lower 70s.
Okay, I want to show you this right here coming up later on the Action News 5 digital desk. It's Public Health Week, okay, National Public Health Week, and we're going to be talking with Life Science of Memphis about the importance of having an annual physical exam to address some of the health issues that some of us have to deal with here in Memphis and the Mid-South. Also want to tell you about a spring book sale that's happening at the Benjamin Hooks Library later this month. That's coming up. You'll see an interview with friends of the library. And I don't know if you saw this, but I saw this video yesterday, wild tornado video of one woman in Arkansas. You know, we've seen those videos of people getting the storm clouds as they come in with the tornado clouds. Well, this woman was watching and videoing the storm clouds coming in, and then suddenly she was sucked up into those storm clouds. Fascinating stuff. I don't know if we have it all because I saw it. It's like 2 to 3 minutes, but it is wild. And it just kind of reminds you the importance of staying safe as opposed to getting that recording on your phone or whatever. Stay safe. You got to stay safe and go to that important safe room in your home when you're dealing with this kind of tornado outbreak that we had here in the Mid-South. And that's where I want to start this half hour because so many Mid-Southerners are still dealing with cleanup. They're still dealing with restoration and trying to get their life back to normal after Friday's devastating storms. In Covington and Tipton County, neighbors are helping neighbors, strangers becoming friends. We sent our Action News 5 photojournalist Darren Baldwin to capture the humanity and the road to recovery. Take a look.
I seen it blowing by the front window. I mean, it hit that quick. You see it on TV, but you never, until you experience or see it in person, it's just really different.
It's been rough. I ain't gonna say it's been rough.
Yesterday there were hundreds of volunteers in this neighborhood clearing debris and stuff. It's just been tremendous.
Company come together and they help. At times like this, man, we need it.
We leave it down at dusk, come back at dawn. Well, let's get some more big stuff on it.
Material things can be replaced. We're alive, we're not hurt.
Everybody survived, so that's a good thing.
So we will rebuild.
That's what we're here for, man. We're not stopping until everything is done. Everything is done.
And neighbors helping neighbors in Covington, Tennessee. Over in Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders launched a new one-stop website for tornado relief efforts in the natural state. Arkansans affected by the storms can see all the charitable resources available to them, as well as volunteer and charity opportunities for those who want to help. You can check it out by visiting help.arkansas.com.
Main thing we're doing while we're here is sharing the love of Jesus. We're witnessing these people to try to help them through our witness of God's love to them. And as we do that's our main objective, is to witness to them and to be able to help them and share God's love with them.
That's Arkansas's faith-based organization coming together to help clean up efforts underway in Wynne. Operation Commander with the Arkansas Baptist Disaster Relief tells us this is an all-hands-on-deck with 7 to 8 crews that have been voluntarily working tirelessly, setting up temporary tarps along the roofs, using chainsaws to cut down and clear trees out of the roadway. Along with all the cleanup operations, Arkansas Baptist Disaster Relief says they still want to provide hope to those affected. They will continue cleanup efforts until the need is gone. Stay with Action News 5 for continuing coverage as Mid-Southerners continue down the road to recovery from last Friday's storms. All right, let's talk about cybersecurity awareness, because that is the month of October. In addition to Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it's also Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And get this stat here. More than 75% of Americans recently shared that they were targeted by an online scam, which can include donation scams, tech support scams, romance scams, cryptocurrency scams, and much, much more. Does that surprise you? It doesn't surprise me, but it's certainly pervasive, it seems, in every part of the country. Let's bring in a cybersecurity expert right now. Jaya Ballou is joining us. And Jaya, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And I understand that the sandwich generation seems to be one of those generations that really has a lot of responsibilities when it comes to this. Sandwich generation, my understanding is that, because I'm a part of it, you have aging parents and you have kids. The kids tend to be skewing a little bit younger. Is that what the sandwich generation is? Let's define it for everybody.
You're absolutely right. That's exactly what it is. And just like you, I'm also part of it. So it's not an easy spot to be in, because you've got this double role where you have to be the primary caregiver, both for your kids, but also make sure your parents are okay. And one area that's often overlooked when we're doing all the other responsibilities is around cybersecurity.
Yeah, one of the most frustrating things for me, especially when my father-in-law lived with us, was that how many phone calls he got from the constant people that, may sound nice over the phone, may sound trusting over the phone, but it was a bunch of garbage, and it's just so frustrating. So what's the best advice for not only managing what older Americans have to deal with when it comes to scams, but also our children too?
Yeah, so the good news is that both for the older Americans that we need to take care of, as well as those younger kids that we've got as our primary role, they're the same stuff that we have to do for both of them. And I like to kind of couch it into 3 things. Like, the first thing is prevention, making sure that they have some good cyber hygiene practices ready to go that are enabled by default. And that can be a good antivirus, a good web browser, and a strong VPN that they can use because they want to be connected from anywhere on every device
of the latest on Privé?
So that's a good starting point. Majority of threats are blocked. The second thing is just really about detection, being vigilant, watching out for those red flags, knowing when to recognize one of those phone calls is completely illegitimate, that your bank never wants to ask information about your passwords or that kind of stuff by calling you, and especially an unsolicited call asking you for information is not normal. So watching out for those red flags is the second thing, really being vigilant and paying attention to that scam-like behavior. And the third thing, which is really not easy to do when it happens, but you need to kind of prepare it before it happens, is in case you actually do get attacked or do fall initially for the scam, how to stop it quickly, and then also how to get help, whether that means informing police or finding someone in your network that can actually undo the harm that was done. Having that ready before you need it is super important to getting this right.
What about for younger children? By the way, I love that response. That was excellent. Cyber hygiene. That's a term that I want to develop there and just kind of use from now on. And VPN. I feel like VPNs are just so underrated right now. They need to be more prevalent. What about for younger children out there? Because the older Americans, that seems to be, it gets a lot of press about ways to protect older Americans, but sometimes our children are left vulnerable on screens and devices. What are some good practices for some of the parents out there?
So I'm a mom of 3, and I've got to tell you that in some cases, I find my kids way more savvy, even though like I was hacking from the age of 9 and I feel like I really know what the internet is. I find them super savvy on some of these social media platforms, and they've already figured out, how to have hacks for games. They're doing all this stuff. And I feel like the best way to educate them is not to prohibit them from doing something. And especially as parents who may be less tech savvy than their kids these days, the best thing to do is to have that conversation about what is safe, what is acceptable, how to spot something that, is doing something that's actually evil. And also, like, we need to worry more about our kids about things like cyberbullying. Are they actually having a good time on some of these social media platforms that they're on? Or when they're exchanging information while they're playing Fortnite or whatever, that information is not something that's actually confidential. When they're being requested to send images, how they actually protect their profiles on any of these platforms, just making sure it's invite only, and that the photos that my daughter, for example, is uploading, that they're not just being spread out. I'm trying to take the role of not saying no, because I don't want to find them circumventing my advice, but finding a way to actually have a dialogue and like really talk to them and engage and let them understand what the threat is so they make the best decisions they possibly can.
I know you mentioned a little bit about this earlier, but for viewers out there that want to is secure their household as much as possible, virus protection software, that sort of thing, passwords, maybe 2 identification verifications, that sort of thing. Give me give me a list of the best preventable ways so that you're not hacked.
Okay, so we started out with those 3. I love this, by the way. I could do this all day. But we started out with those 3 of a good antivirus. And again, it doesn't matter to me which one you have, as long as it's a solid antivirus. And you can go out there and look at AV comparatives or any of the other sites to figure out which one fits your price range and your purpose best. Start there. The second one is really, when you go online, a good secure browser. Third one is a VPN for all of your devices, so that when you're using the internet from other Wi-Fi points, that you're still safe. And then, like what you mentioned, a lot of platforms that we engage with online already have 2-factor authentication enabled. We as users, though, need to turn it on. There's some user involvement in order to be able to use that benefit that's already there. So I urge everybody on the platforms that you use, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, WhatsApp, etc., Signal, turn on that 2-factor authentication mechanism that's there. If you don't know how to do it, Google that for the platform that you're using. You'll find an easy set of instructions. The other thing about passwords, now, I have to tell you, this is a drama, and it's always been the worst thing ever. People do not like complex passwords because they don't remember them, so they wind up writing it on a sticky note or losing it or whatever. So the best thing is to have a unique password for everything you're using, and then to manage that with a password manager. So the easiest way to do that unique password for every site and then having it slightly complex is to let it go into a password manager, and there's a bunch of good ones out there. Pick one. Make sure you use it, consistently, use it across your different devices, and already that will make a huge amount of difference. There's also like small things that I like to point out, which is really when you are getting links in emails, just don't arbitrarily click. Try to find out where that link is taking you, and then you can better click that by yourself by typing it in, if that's a valid and legitimate email. Try to have, for sensitive information, an offline channel, like a phone call that you can make to verify that that's legitimate requests that you're actually getting.
I know you got to wrap up a little bit here, Jaya, but what about social media with our youngsters out there? They're on it a lot. What are best practices for social media?
Well, again, my thing that I do with my kids is to just agree a certain amount of screen time to monitor usage. And one of the things that I did with my son very early on is that we actually read the terms and conditions of the platform that he was using. And it sounds absolutely horrible and a terrible thing to do with your Sunday afternoon, but it's actually really useful because then they suddenly understand that they're being followed and tracked even when they're not on that social media platform. And all of that off-platform activity about them is used to collect information about all of their browsing behavior. And so when my son found that out, he actually said, you know what, I don't want to do this now. This is not the goal. We want to empower people to embrace online technology and be having some concept of digital freedom when they go online. But again, it begins with the dialogue. Just start the conversation. I think that's a great thing to do in this month of cybersecurity awareness.
What a novel concept, reading the terms and conditions. I love it. Is there anything else we can go to for more information, some of the things that you've said? It's been fantastic. Where can our viewers get that information online?
Well, just start at the Avast.com sandwich generation site. So www.avast.com sandwich generation. And we have a bunch of resources there. There's an online quiz to test your awareness, stuff that you can print out and share with your parents. Just start there. I think a good starting point is, already means you're doing a lot of good effort for the future.
Well, Jaya Ballou is the Avast Chief Information Security Officer, and great tips, great conversation. Thanks so very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Want to update you on the shooting that happened at the Privé restaurant there in Hickory Hill. 2 men have now been arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The first suspect on your right, 26-year-old Johnny Sanford, charged with first-degree murder and being a convicted felon in possession of a handgun. And then the second suspect on your left is 31-year-old Damone Sykes, charged with first-degree murder, criminal attempt first-degree murder, possession of a firearm, possession of a prohibited weapon. You may recall what happened here. This happened late on Thursday, the Privé shooting, Hickory Hill. 5 people were injured. 2 people were killed as a result of this shooting that took place there. Again, 2 people charged with first-degree murder in that fight that investigators say began in the inside, and then the shooting began on the outside. Some promising news now from the Memphis Police Department. The investigators say that the 2 officers who were shot in Whitehaven are now out of the hospital. The officers were shot during what police call some sort of altercation with a suspect Thursday night. All 3 were sent to the hospital with gunshot wounds. The officers have not finished the debriefing process, so it's unclear of their identities. But again, those officers are making a recovery this morning. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee announcing plans to improve school safety across the state of Tennessee. The plans will focus on 2 things. Governor Lee wants security guards, mental health resources available for schools. He also wants all schools to lock their doors. Each district should create a threat assessment team and come up with an annual safety plan.
Today is the next step in steps we have taken, but it is not the last step. There is much to do even after today, and we together will continue to take those steps to move forward.
State lawmakers will consider the governor's proposal later this week. A Senate committee will take it up tomorrow. You can read full details and the cost breakdown on our website, actionnews5.com. You may have noticed prices at the pump are on the rise once again, and that is because of a number of different things. But OPEC Plus is making unexpected cuts to its output. Melissa Rainey has more in this morning's Consumer Watch.
On Monday, oil prices suddenly spiked after a shocking announcement by OPEC Plus and its allies saying they would cut output. The group of oil-producing countries and allies will cut production by more than 1.66 million barrels a day, starting in May through the end of the year, according to a Goldman Sachs analysis. With oil prices already rising, this impact could soon be felt by Americans at the pump. On Monday, the national average for a tank of regular gas came in at just under $3.51 a gallon, according to AAA.
Whenever we see crude oil rise, 9 times out of 10, we're going to see an increase in gas prices. That can be anywhere between 3 cents to 10 cents.
So what does this mean for those planning to gas up and hit the road this spring break and summer?
It's about gassing up and monitoring what your gas prices are going to be along your road trip, depending on where you're going.
Many Americans are hitting the roads to beaches in the South like Georgia and Florida and on the East Coast, according to AAA spokesperson Montre Waiters. She predicts there's going to be an even bigger uptick in summer travel and offers a unique tip on having better gas mileage.
Get the junk out of your trunk. So the heavier your car is, the more it burns gas. I know when you're traveling, you can't help that, but try and pack smart.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Melissa Rainey.
Good morning. There's a 3 out of 5 for our severe weather threat tomorrow. You don't have to worry about any severe weather today, but that 3 out of 5 is for everyone in West Tennessee, most of eastern Arkansas, a little sliver of DeSoto County. Damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, all possible. But the main thing that we'll be monitoring here with this weather system will be those damaging winds. That's where I'm putting it a medium threat for that. Low threat for tornado and hail. Again, still possible to see those two things though. And everyone likely will see some heavy rain with this system. So let's talk timing. Today, as I said, we're not going to see any severe weather. Might see a stray shower around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, and we'll deal with the clouds all day today. Now, an isolated strong thunderstorm can't be ruled out overnight tonight into early tomorrow in eastern Arkansas, but it looks like greatest threat will be up towards Jonesboro and north going to the Missouri Boot Heel. This is 9 a.m. Still not much showing up, but in the afternoon, instability levels are going to skyrocket. Anything that develops could be severe. You could get a spin that creates a tornado. You could get some damaging wind gusts right around lunchtime. This is 12:30 from Tipton County into Dyer County, even in Shelby County in spots like Memphis, Bartlett, Cordova, getting that potential for some heavy rain and thunderstorms. 5 o'clock, those thunderstorms continue in Shelby County into Fayette County, North Mississippi, from Olive Branch all the way down to Clarksdale, getting some strong to severe storms. After sunset, though, so after 7 o'clock, those instability levels drop. Now you will still have a lot of heavy rain, especially in West Tennessee and North Mississippi along and south of I-40 as that front stalls out. It's going to keep that rain around. So we'll see that threat for everything else drop significantly, but you'll see an increase in that flash flooding threat by late Wednesday into early Thursday. Those wind gusts tomorrow will probably be around 30 to 35 miles per hour for most of the day. If you get a severe thunderstorm, those gusts could go up to 50 miles per hour. Plan for power outages tomorrow just in case you want to have the flashlights and everything ready to go. Now we'll end up with about 2 inches of rain in North Mississippi. Like I said, that's a spot where we'll have to watch for flash flooding as that front stalls out. It'll stick around probably through Thursday morning at the very least in Oxford and Marks. About 1 inch of rain expected to Memphis and closer to a 1/2 inch in our northern counties. Today you won't have any rain, but you will have the clouds. 79 degrees at noon, 82 at 1 o'clock. With that wind in place, may not still be the best day to sit on the patio even with that warm weather. Because winds today will be whipping 25 to 30 miles per hour, and you'll have windy conditions tonight too. But the high today in Memphis is 85, 86 in Summerville, mid-80s in Brownsville and in Ripley, right around 85 degrees in Tunica, 86 in Olive Branch, but 87 in Ashland, 88 degrees in Oxford today. Very warm, and it will also feel more humid, and then lower to mid-80s from Marion, Mariana into Helena. If you want more details on the temperatures today and on those severe weather chances, you can look at First Alert Futurecast on our First Alert weather app. Just search for WMC in the App Store, and you can download that one for free. So we're in the 80s today, a low temperature around 70 tonight, 77 tomorrow. Warm air again is one of the ingredients you need for that severe weather. We'll have temperatures in the mid-60s on Thursday and then lower 60s Friday. So temperatures are going to drop behind Wednesday's cold front. And then over the weekend, I can't completely rule out a stray shower Saturday, but it looks like the weekend will be mostly dry and no rain expected Sunday on Easter, lower 70s.
Take a look at this. This is the flyer for the brand new spring book sale that's happening later this month. Friends of the library there, the Benjamin L. Hooks Central Library on Poplar Avenue. Check it out. Thursday, April 20th, Friday, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. All kinds of books will be on sale, along with CDs, DVDs, vinyl, and much more. Let's talk now about this book sale with Mary Aronoff. She is with the Friends of the Library, surrounded by books herself. Mary, good morning. How are you?
Hi, nice to be with you.
I appreciate you being here. So, so tell me about this spring book sale. I know that we cover it for the most part every year, but it sounds like it's just going to be one of these great sales that people are going to want to take part in, right?
Oh yeah, it's great. We have the sale twice a year. This is our semi-annual sale. We have it every spring and fall. And all year long, we go through all of our donations and our books that the library feels that they no longer need, and we will pack all these books. We will pack CDs, we have DVDs, we have sheet music, we have records, we have magazines, and we will gather them all together and haul them upstairs in the big conference rooms of the library and set all these thousands and thousands of books and CDs and records out on this gigantic floor. When you go in, you're almost overwhelmed by all the books we have.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. So I'm looking at the flyer right now, Mary, and it says Thursday is a member preview for Friends of the Library. That's from 3 until 7 o'clock in the evening. You got Friday from 10 to 6, and then Saturday 10 to 5, and then Sunday it says bag sale. Tell me what bag sale means.
Well, look, first let me mention something about Thursday night. That's the Friends of the Library preview sale. So if you are a friend of the library, you get to come in and look at all our books. First, you get first shot at them. But you can join at the door, and it's only $10 per year for individual, $25 per family. The next 2 days, we're open to the public. So, you know, anybody can come in and look at books. And then whatever is left over after 3 days of this sale, whatever we have left over, we sell in what we call a bag sale. And that's from 11 until 2 on Sunday. And we provide the bags and we provide the boxes. Whatever you can fit in a bag is $6 per bag. Whatever you can fit in a box, it is $12 per box. However, you can't be guaranteed you're going to get, the best selection. The best selection, you should come in on the first 3 days of the sale.
Yes, of course, of course. And I know this is, and again, we're looking at the flyer right now that talks about it. Again, Thursday, April 20th, all the way to Sunday, April 23rd. This is the spring book sale. And I know that the money goes to Friends of the Library, but can you tell me specifically where the money is put to use?
Yes, I can tell you a little bit about that. 100% of the funds we raise go to support the programs and the services of the library. We help with the library's collection, including books and films and media. We also support annual programs and ongoing programs. Some of the annual programs that we support are Bookstock, which invites local authors to come and make presentations to the public. We have something called Boo Book, which is our Halloween program where little kids come and get free books and candy and craft supplies. And we also have a senior health fair. And then some of the branches have ongoing programs that they decided that are good for their particular community. Some of the managers of our branches have decided to hold yoga classes, nutrition classes, exercise classes, art classes, and book clubs. Anything that our local managers think might be very helpful to make their community better. And so we help support those programs. We also help support our robotics team. We have a team that is in competition and goes from cities throughout the region and apparently has done pretty well. And we also have a program called Cloud 901, which is a program to support creative endeavors for teenagers. And we have a supply mentorship and equipment for them to do videos, recordings, poetry, art, any number of creative endeavors. So we have lots of ongoing programs like that too.
I'm
But
curious
100% of
about
what we
something.
earn, tries to go support these programs.
Okay, great. I appreciate you explaining that. I'm curious, though. So you have thousands of books, CDs, DVDs. How do you and your team decide which books go for sale and which stay in the library?
Well, initially, the books are brought to our back dock area, and they're hauled to the hallway where many of us work in the basement, and we go through boxes and boxes of books. And we have some scanners which help us price books that might be worth going onto Amazon because they're so valuable. And again, we're trying to get the best price for what are donated. And if it doesn't go to Amazon and it's in pretty good shape, we will then put the books in a massive storage area where we have them categorized by subject. We have a Second Editions bookstore at the Central Library also. And so the managers from Second Edition will come down and look through what we received as donations, and they will pick books based upon what they think would be popular and sell in the bookstore. And then after that, or during the whole time, we will then start culling through the books and packing books. As soon as we finish one book sale, we are going through and starting to pack for the next book sale. And we do that every 6 months and then have our sale. So it's generally, Amazon, bookstore, book sale.
Sorry, Mary. I was just saying I have the flyer up here, and it has a QR code there at the bottom. And the QR code, I guess people can scan it and then kind of look online and see what kind of books, CDs and DVDs are available. Is that true? Is there a place where people can go online and check it out?
You actually have to come physically to the library to see all the wonderful things we have. The QR code, I think, brings you to the Friends of the Library site, I believe. But in order to see the selection, and let me tell you, we have bunches of cookbooks. If you love cookbooks, we have lots of cookbooks. We have children's books, books for young adults. We have hardback and paperback books, science fiction books, mystery books, history, war, biography, travel, religion. You name it, we have it. So we have a very, very wide selection of books, but you physically will have to come look and see all the great selection we have. We also have some specially priced book sets, and they will be at the very entrance to our book sale.
Fantastic. Okay, Mary Aronoff with the Friends of the Library. I really appreciate you joining us. Quickly, let me get the address where people can go to get some more information about this sale.
The address for, they can do memphislibraryfriends.org is the website, and it will, if they went to that site and they hit on sale, it would pull up the information about the book sale. Also, if they go to the Memphis Public Library website, they will have it will be scrolled down with some other events that are happening, but they should be able to find the information there too. And I really hope that everybody will come to help support the Memphis Public Library, including all of its branches. Please come buy books, DVDs, records. Just come and have fun.
Excellent, excellent. Thursday, April 20th to Sunday, April 23rd, there at the Benjamin Hooks Library, the Central Library in the city of Memphis. Mary Aronoff, we really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you so much.
Amanda Hansen here at the Action News 5 digital desk, and I want to go to a quote by Winston Churchill where it says, "Success consists of going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm." I think that's an important point, to be able to celebrate those failures and also look at those as a chance to grow. And so joining me now to talk more about this topic and overcoming failure, daring to take chances, is Olakunle Sorian, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, an entrepreneur and co-author of the book A Love Affair with Failure, When Hitting Bottom Becomes a Launchpad to Success. Olakunle, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you. I'm doing really great. It's nice to hear. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think this is such an important topic to be able to talk about because so many people can be so hard on themselves. But if you never take a chance, you know, you're never going to find that success that you want. And so failures really are just, the way I look at it, is a chance for you to grow, to learn. What are some things, I know that you are a co-author of this book, Love Affair with Failure, When Hitting Bottom Becomes a Launching Pad to Success. Can you kind of share more about some of the points that you really thought about when putting this together?
Well, thank you. I mean, part of the assumption really is the truth that failing is a constant. Stumbling is not failing, and failing is not failure. Failing is a journey, and that is part of the human condition.
I think a lot of people are their own worst critic, right? We are so hard on ourselves. And so I think a lot of times when it comes to trying new things, there's this fear of failure. And how can that be really hindering for people?
Yes, thank you so much. I think that if we become more self-accepting and to understand that when we fail, we are in a very big club of so many great people who have probably experienced worse, and that our case will not be the worst that has happened in the human condition, and that whatever happens, the possibility of transformation, the promise of change is pretty much a human right, even if it's not documented as so. And so the universe somehow compensates this truth, the idea prevailing experiences is the pathway to future meaning, to future power, future influence, or whatever it is great and promising in the future. We have to accept that as a given and remind ourselves that we have a right to that. And again, that whatever it is that happens to us as human beings, we must remind ourselves that what is coming will always come. The difference is in how we see, how we hear, how we interpret, how we act, and how we judge and take actions. And so these are the things that define our common experiences as human beings, no matter who we are, whether it's Oprah Winfrey, who was fired as a news anchor, or it is Walt Disney, who was fired at age 20 for not being creative enough, or it's Mark Cuban, who was fired as well, you know, on his sales job, and today is a billionaire. We can go on and on. Is it Abraham Lincoln, who tried for office at different levels, but became president of the United States after failing in many other offices? So the reality is that possibilities are always within reach, and every human being has that comfort in the universe that if you accept yourself and deserving of the future that you prefer, you will find yourself there.
You know, I know you're an entrepreneur yourself, and I know you do a lot of talks helping to kind of give advice to other people. And so, I mean, have you had your own encounters with failure, and what was that experience like? What did you take away from that? How did it help you to be where you are now?
There's no way I can actually be who I am now without my history of failure. I've failed, I'm failing, I'm going to continue to fail, right? I spent 12 years in the university, in college, studying a 4-year course, right? After 12 years, you should have a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degree, and a doctorate degree. I got a bachelor's degree. It was shameful, it was tough, but I just had to hang in there. Today, what I learned there cannot be learned in a book or be taught to me in a classroom. I can go on and on to my mistake as an entrepreneur, how much money I've lost, wrong judgments, wrong decisions. Each one of them has added up to the resource background that I have today, such that if I have to do all of life again, and I have the blessing or misfortune of going through all I've gone through again, I will go through them again, as long as they will bring me to where I am now. Because where I am now, I have no regrets. I'm excited, I'm powerful, I'm moving, and I'm getting better and better on a daily basis. I guess that's the way we have to look at life.
Oh, yeah. And for those people that have doubts, you know, they say, I just don't know if I can do that. How can you overcome that when you maybe have that feeling deep rooted inside of you? How do you kind of brush that doubt aside?
Yeah, I think to be self-accepting is very important, and to understand that, doubts will always be in your heart, in your head, and the faith and the audacity you need is in your heart. You don't do what you do with the absence of doubt. You do what you have to do in spite of the feeling of doubts. Doubts are almost constant, whether we like it or not. Like I said, what is coming will come. Again, when you accept yourself, reach out. We should learn to understand that a lot of people have gone through or are going through whatever it is we are going through. And so we should reach out and find more intelligence, more clarity, more information from people who have been there, done that, and who can share a part of their own journey and how they navigate it. That has helped me a lot, right? There are mentors to reach out to, friends who have a part of history of competence, who have defeated some of the things confronting us. We will find a lot of comfort with that, and we'll keep moving forward.
What advice would you give someone that is sitting here, they're watching, they're like, I've tried, I feel like I've failed over and over, and I feel like I'm at the point of saying, I'm just ready to throw in the towel, I give up. What advice would you give them to keep going?
I would say try again and keep going. Most importantly, reach out to somebody else and try to add new information to what you've been doing before. There's always something new you can add to the volume that you have before now, and that could just be it. And even if that doesn't work, keep moving and keep adding something new. It's only a matter of time before you realize that the universe listens, and somehow the universe compensates that. Keep moving.
Some really good advice, motivation, information, Olakunle Sorion. Anything else that you want to make sure we mention before we let you go today?
Well, I just want to say, whatever happens to anyone out there, no matter how you see this life or whatever it is you are going through, recognize that failing is not failure. Failing is part of your journey. Failure is a destination you will only get to when you choose to, right? If you keep your mind open and see every setback in your life as feedback from the future, preparing you for the bigger opportunities ahead of you, then you will always be in a state of progress. Progress is more critical than a one-time victory. Just keep progressing. Today being better than yesterday, that is awesome, right? Have it at the back of your mind. Everything you are going through is feedback from the future. The losses of your present day are early training, preparing you for the bigger pictures ahead of you.
Olakunle, I appreciate your time and you just sharing this and sharing your story with what you've dealt with and how it's really helped you to get here and how it really has been the building block. Those failures really are building blocks to, to the future. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining us today, and you have a good one, all right?
Thank you.
$100 a piece. Amazing, an amazing home there just for $100. Now, if you get your ticket between now and April 14th, you have a chance to win a brand new car, a Honda Civic Sport or a Nissan Kicks SV, courtesy of Wolf Chase Honda, Wolf Chase Nissan. The new car is in addition to your chance to win that dream home. Again, tickets are just $100 a piece. You can get your ticket by calling that number, 1-800-224-6681, or go to dreamhome.org. Springtime is in the air, means you've probably got some yard work to do, some spring cleaning to prep for if you need a refresh on tools to get the job done right. Consumer Reports is here to help, finding discounts on some top-rated products you'll need this April. Take a look.
Whether you're grilling, mowing, cleaning, or just looking forward to spending more time outdoors, April is the perfect month to get the items you'll need to start your spring ride. Consumer Reports tracks the prices of many of its top-tested products all year long, so it knows exactly when to shop for them. Here are the top products to look out for in this month's best time to buy.
Retailers tend to focus on seasonal items in April, with deals around spring cleaning and outdoor equipment for lawn care. It's also a great time to find sales on products that will help you enjoy the outdoors in the warmer months to come.
First, get a handle on spring cleaning with the new vacuum cleaner. The Samsung Jet vacuum cleaner is as low as $550 at Amazon. This cordless stick vac has a digital display that allows you to check the power level, battery life, and any maintenance issues. After you're done cleaning the inside, keep things tidy outside with the new lawnmower. This Ryobi mower is as low as $299 at the Home Depot. CR says this battery-powered mower earns top marks in mulching, evenness of cut, and noise. Now that you have all of those chores done, head out to enjoy the nice weather. But first, make sure your noggin is safe with a bike helmet that can protect you. This Giro bike helmet is one of CR's top-rated bike helmets and is $69.95 at Amazon. This helmet aced CR's impact test and provides excellent ventilation. And finally, kick your feet back and dine al fresco with a brand new grill. This Permasteel grill is as low as $379.99 at the Home Depot. This compact, low-powered grill heats food evenly and has 3 burners, electronic ignition, and 2 side shelves.
Okay, Andrew Douglas back here in the Action News 5 digital desk. The Memphis Police Department will host its first hiring expo of the year. It's going to be this Saturday. It'll be April 8th, and it's something that where someone can go by and start a brand new career with the Memphis Police Department. Joining me now to talk more about this hiring expo is Officer Christopher Freeman. He's joining us on the digital desk. Officer Freeman, if you could do me a favor and tilt down on your camera just a little bit. We got a lot of headroom there. But listen, I really appreciate you joining us this morning to talk about the Police Hiring Expo. Tell me first, tell me about it. What can people expect when they stop by there this Saturday?
So the Memphis Police Department's Hiring Expo is a chance for anybody who has a heart for service that wants to come and serve the city of Memphis can come out and learn about the job and learn what it feels like to be a Memphis police officer. At the time when they're there, they get to speak with us about the different units that we have, the life of an academy recruit. They get to fill out an application and take the first test of the hiring process.
Gotcha. And so can you tell us a little bit more about when this is? I see that it's 11 to 3 on Saturday, where it is, and what people can expect when they show up. I mean, is there going to be just kind of an idea of what they can see in terms of a new career with the Memphis Police Department?
Absolutely. So first, the expo will be April 8th, which is this Saturday at 170 North Main from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. There will also be parking at the Mud Island Garage, which is at Poplar in front, so they don't have to worry about parking. But what they can expect is first they'll see us with smiling faces to greet them and guide them through the expo process. First, they need to bring a valid driver's license. So once they bring that, we can check them in and they can go through the expo experience. So they'll be able to speak with officers about the requirements, what to expect with the police department, how the police department has changed each and every one of our lives, and different ways that they can serve within the police department.
Okay, officer. So tell me how many officers they're looking to get in this hiring expo, and can you talk about some of the challenges? I know that it's been a priority for the mayor to get certain the level of the Memphis Police Department up to a certain standard?
So we don't have a cap on the amount of officers that we're trying to get from the expo. We just want to make sure that we put the opportunity out there for everybody who is interested and qualified to serve with us. So there's not a cap on the number.
Can you talk about maybe some of the characteristics that would make a great Memphis police officer? Candidates that you're looking for?
Absolutely. First, of good moral character, trustworthy, honest. They must carry a high level of integrity. They must be passionate, and they also must love the city of Memphis and its citizens.
Do you need to register beforehand, and what do people need to bring?
So you don't have to register beforehand, just like you don't have to fill out your application beforehand, but it would speed up your check-in process if you did register beforehand. And if you go to the Memphis Police Department's Facebook page, the expo flyer is on the photos, and you can just scan the QR code and go ahead and register. And the only thing we ask people to bring is a valid driver's license.
Okay, and can you talk about perhaps some of the sign-on bonuses and the relocation assistance involved?
Absolutely. So once you're hired and you become a recruit, you are eligible for a $15,000 sign-on bonus. So that'll be given to you in two different payments upon graduation and upon completion of probation in your training period. The $10,000 relocation comes from if you live 50 miles outside of the city, we will give you up to $10,000 in relocation to help you move and get settled in the city of Memphis.
So what do you say to someone who is a little bit skittish about it, that would make probably a pretty decent candidate, but in light of some of the news, the national news out there, they're a little bit skittish about joining? What do you say to that candidate out there that would make a good police officer, but right now might be a little apprehensive?
I would tell them not to ignore their calling. They want to be a police officer for a reason. It's a deep-rooted calling that all of us have, and don't ignore that calling. You need to fulfill that calling because the people of Memphis, the citizens of Memphis, need you.
Can you talk a little bit about the academy, and once someone is selected for this expo hiring, the process to eventually become a police officer?
So the academy is 24 weeks long, roughly about 6 months. Within the academy, they'll learn the policies and procedures of the police department, constitutional law, state law. They also learn the firearms training and how to use the tools that we give them to operate on a day-to-day basis. And there's also physical training as well. We get them in shape.
Anything else you want to mention, officer, about the expo this weekend that we haven't touched on?
Oh, so I just want to invite everyone and reiterate that we look forward to seeing you. And again, if you have that heart for service, and if you really feel that calling in you, don't ignore it and come join the Best in Blue.
Okay, join mpd.com for more information. Christopher Freeman, we really appreciate you joining us and filling us in on the expo this Saturday from 11 to 3. Thanks so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Life Signs of Memphis. It is an institution for so many Memphians to get their annual physical exam. Next week is National Public Health Week, and it is a good time to check in with our friends at Life Signs to talk about the importance of that annual physical exam. Let's right now talk to Sandy Bradford. He's Director of Business Development. He's on the Action News 5 digital desk. And for people that are not familiar, Sandy, let's talk about Life Signs and what it provides for Memphis and the Mid-South.
Yes, sir. We're a unique doctor's office, and what we do is focus on preventive care and the early diagnosis of disease. We do this by providing comprehensive physical examinations to anybody that's interested, and we have a great interest in partnering with corporations, and we communicate our services to those employees of corporations. But we're very, very good at finding problems early and keeping people healthy.
Yes, and I was there. I was actually there about a week ago, and great facility, great staff. I have nothing but good things to say. And next week is National Public Health Week. So, can you talk again about why it's so important to get that physical exam?
Well, the simple answer is just early detection. Obviously, if you have a health issue that is bothering you, you want to try to get it taken care of as early as possible. The first thing you have to do, though, is find out that you actually got a health issue. Sometimes people put it off long enough to where an ailment, a pain somewhere in the body becomes kind of the new normal, and they just kind of figure that it's part of growing older. But you need to at least have an annual checkup, find problems early so they can be treated and taken care of so they don't become life-threatening.
It's my mistake. Actually, this week is National Public Health Week. But hey, I mean, if you need an annual exam, it doesn't matter what week it is. You got to go and sign up for one. Tell us about the mobile medical clinic that you guys have. I guess that means you can just kind of go to where people are to kind of meet the need, right?
Right. Yeah. That's basically the long and short of it. We launched Healthy Here, which is our mobile unit. We launched that back in 2016. And so if employees within an organization or anybody in the community, well, basically the company, if their employees cannot come to us, if they don't have the time to be able to get away from work, we can actually bring the doctor to them at the work site. And at the work site, we'll perform about a 30-minute physical examination. And it typically goes beyond what most doctors are able to do in their office. And so it's about 30 minutes. They come out to the mobile unit, get their exam, go right back into work. And otherwise, a lot of people would not go to the doctor and put it off until their issue became symptomatic, and at which time it might also become a more serious condition. So it makes it real convenient, and that's the reason that employees take advantage of it. So if you can't come see us, we can work out a program to come see you at your job site.
That's a great idea, and especially for a lot of guys out there. A lot of guys won't go see the doctor's office or won't go to the doctor until like we're on death's door. I mean, that's just kind of how we are. I mean, so that's right. If there's someone out there that's maybe a little hesitant about getting a physical exam, what would be your way to convince them to do so?
Well, I would just say that if they wanted to come see us, we actually are set up to do more testing in one visit than anybody in the area entirely. So we can actually do the testing that you would normally have to go to anywhere from 5 to 6 different providers to get. So by coming to us at Life Signs, we can do it all in about a 2-hour period and have about every test that you would want to possibly have done. And again, we're very, very good at finding problems. So it would be in your best interest if you've got a family, got kids and so forth. Take care of yourself. Come see us. We'll check you out. Make sure that you're healthy. If you're not healthy, if we find a problem, then we can help you take the necessary steps to get the care you need so you can become healthier and overcome whatever problem it is that you're facing.
I know you guys you guys test on so many different levels, a stress test, you test hearing, everything, blood work, that sort of thing. And it usually takes about 2 to 3 hours, right, to go through all those tests. And can you talk specifically about what Memphians are dealing with and why it's important for Memphians, Mid-Southerners, to have this test? Right. Shelby County and Memphis area, we've got a major problem with obviously diabetes, with hypertension. There's a thing called metabolic syndrome, which is basically too much BMI, the obesity, the high cholesterol, the hypertension, all kind of rolled into one. And on top of that, we've still got a lot of Memphians that still smoke, which obviously exacerbates a lot of other issues along with the obesity. So it's a real problem. And cancer, obesity, hypertension, they kill a lot of people in the area. It's all heart disease. So heart disease and cancer. And these problems can be found early. They can be taken care of. They can be treated. And so people don't have to die. And so that's kind of our mission, is preserving health. So when you come see us,
we want to find that problem. We want to help you get on the right track, and so it doesn't kill you, basically. But yeah, Shelby County, Memphis area, we've got some major issues.
Sure, no question about it. So if people wanted to get connected with Life Signs, what's the best way they can do that, Sandy?
Sure, they can give us a call. Our main number is 901-685-5520, or our website is lifesigns.com. If they want to call me directly, that's perfectly fine. My number is 901-260-9914.
Okay, Sandy Bradford with Life Signs of Memphis. We appreciate your time here. Thanks very much, and stay healthy, everyone, right?
Thank you for having me on. Yes, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it, Sandy.
Good morning. There's a 3 out of 5 for our severe weather threat tomorrow. You don't have to worry about any severe weather today, but that 3 out of 5 is for everyone in West Tennessee, most of eastern Arkansas, a little sliver of DeSoto County. Damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, all possible. But the main thing that we'll be monitoring here with this weather system will be those damaging winds. That's where I'm putting it a medium threat for that. Low threat for tornado and hail. Again, still possible to see those two things, though. And everyone likely will see some heavy rain with this system. So let's talk timing. Today, as I said, we're not going to see any severe weather. Might see a stray shower around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, and we'll deal with the clouds all day today. Now, an isolated strong thunderstorm can't be ruled out overnight tonight into early tomorrow in eastern Arkansas, but it looks like greatest threat will be up towards Jonesboro and north going to the Missouri Boot Heel. This is 9 a.m. Still not much showing up, but in the afternoon, instability levels are going to skyrocket. Anything that develops could be severe. You could get a spin that creates a tornado. You could get some damaging wind gusts right around lunchtime. This is 12:30 from Tipton County into Dyer County, even in Shelby County in spots like Memphis, Bartlett, Cordova, getting that potential for some heavy rain and thunderstorms. 5 o'clock, those thunderstorms continue in Shelby County into Fayette County, North Mississippi, from Olive Branch all the way down to Clarksdale, getting some strong to severe storms. After sunset, though, so after 7 o'clock, those instability levels drop. Now, you will still have a lot of heavy rain, especially in West Tennessee and North Mississippi along and south of I-40 as that front stalls out. It's going to keep that rain around. So we'll see that threat for everything else drop significantly, but you'll see an increase in that flash flooding threat by late Wednesday into early Thursday. Those wind gusts tomorrow will probably be around 30 to 35 miles per hour for most of the day. If you get a severe thunderstorm, those gusts could go up to 50 miles per hour. Plan for power outages tomorrow just in case you want to have the flashlights and everything ready to go. Now, we'll end up with about 2 inches of rain in North Mississippi. Like I said, that's a spot where we'll have to watch for flash flooding as that front stalls out. It'll stick around probably through Thursday morning at the very least in Oxford and Marks. About 1 inch of rain expected to Memphis and closer to a ½ inch in our northern counties. Today, you won't have any rain, but you will have the clouds. 79 degrees at noon, 82 at 1 o'clock. With that wind in place, may not still be the best day to sit on the patio, even with that warm weather. Because winds today will be whipping 25 to 30 miles per hour, and you'll have windy conditions tonight too. But the high today in Memphis is 85, 86 in Somerville, mid 80s in Brownsville and in Ripley, right around 85 degrees in Tunica, 86 in Olive Branch, but 87 in Ashland, 88 degrees in Oxford today. Very warm, and it will also feel more humid, and then lower to mid 80s from Marion, Mariana into Helena. If you want more details on the temperatures today and on those severe weather chances, you can look at First Alert Futurecast on our First Alert weather app. Just search for WMC in the App Store, and you can download that one for free. So we're in the 80s today, a low temperature around 70 tonight, 77 tomorrow. Warm air again is one of the ingredients you need for that severe weather. We'll have temperatures in the mid 60s on Thursday and then lower 60s Friday. So temperatures are going to drop behind Wednesday's cold front. And then over the weekend, I can't completely rule out a stray shower Saturday, but it looks like the weekend will be mostly dry and no rain expected Sunday on Easter, lower 70s.
Take a look at our High 5 camera downtown Memphis. You can see some of the clouds in the distance as we look at the I-40 bridge. It's going to be a warm day today. The problem is we're looking at tomorrow being a First Alert weather day yet again. The bearer of bad news, Brittany Bryant, joining us on the digital desk. Yeah, I know you're just the messenger, but here we go again with a severe weather alert day. Now, it's a 3 out of 5 severe weather risk, which is nothing to take lightly, but certainly not the 5 out of 5 risk that we had on Friday, right?
That's very true. 5 out of 5 last week. So that's a good way to give yourself a little bit of perspective. It's not like what we had last Friday. So I'm not expecting multiple long track tornadoes or anything like that. But a 3 out of 5 is still enough, or even a 2 out of 5, where I still see severe thunderstorm warnings with this type of outlook. And because we have a 3 out of 5, that has prompted the First Alert Weather team to make tomorrow a First Alert Weather Day. So with a 3 out of 5, that means that we could see multiple severe thunderstorms. Some of those could produce some damaging winds. That's the most likely setup with anything that becomes severe. Hail possible, some large hail. I was looking over some of the weather models earlier, and I am seeing some signatures to make me think that we'll see some large hail within these thunderstorms here tomorrow. And a tornado is unlikely, but it's still possible. And look, all it takes is one tornado to cause damage and cause some issues. So although I'm not expecting widespread, as I mentioned, tornadoes or long track tornadoes, there's still that potential there. So let's look at timing. We will be cloudy today, but not seeing any rain moving in until probably around 6 or 7 tonight. You'll start to see a few spotty showers, a little bit of patchy drizzle. 10 o'clock this evening, some light rain in eastern Arkansas. And if we did get a thunderstorm overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning in eastern Arkansas, there's enough instability to where we could see a severe thunderstorm overnight. Chances for that are low, but I just want to tell you about that potential since there is a lot of instability. And that system will be close to areas like Harrisburg and Jonesboro, starting around 2 a.m., continuing through 9. But notice 8:30 in the morning here on Wednesday, we're still really not seeing much. You'll start to see some of those thunderstorms developing around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Notice some of these isolated storms, and this is what we worry about. These little isolated storms, they can get some spin in them. They can spawn a tornado. You can also get some heavy rain that results in some flash flooding. But you'll start to see some of those near Blytheville around 2, 3 o'clock. Also the possibility for some of those in DeSoto County or even Shelby County near downtown Memphis. That potential for severe weather there. And some of those storms will still be impacting West Tennessee and North Mississippi in that area where we have that 3 out of 5 through 6 o'clock. Now, after 6 o'clock, your severe weather threat will drop considerably. So we're no longer going to be tracking severe weather after sunset. So after 6 or 7 o'clock, no longer looking at severe weather, but the heavy rain sticks around in North Mississippi, especially all the way through Thursday morning. And we're looking at these rainfall totals today through early tomorrow to possibly be up to 2 inches in North Mississippi, about 1 inch in Memphis. So I do have some concern, especially in those areas in North Mississippi, for some flash flooding. Wind gusts tomorrow will be around 30 to 35 miles per hour for most of the day, Andrew. But if you get some of those winds kicking up, especially with a severe thunderstorm, then you could potentially get those wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. So unfortunately, there could be some potential for some of those strong wind gusts to possibly knock out power. And I don't even know if we have all the power back in some spots from the storms last Friday.
Good point. Yeah, we have most of it restored. I think there's like 1,600 homes and businesses without power in the MLGW coverage area. But the outlying areas, Entergy, Arkansas, and some places in West Tennessee, yeah, they're still dealing with power outages at this time. I'm curious, Brittany, how much is today's weather, the warmth of today's weather, going to affect tomorrow?
Well, it's definitely going to have an impact. There's going to be temperatures today climbing up to the mid to upper 80s. That is, 10 or 15 degrees above average for this time of year. 85 degrees in Memphis, 86 in Somerville today, upper 80s in Bolivar, 83 in Ripley. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s across North Mississippi. So just a very warm day. Same with eastern Arkansas, mid to lower to mid 80s across that area too. And we'll also have some higher humidity. So it will feel more like a late spring, early summer day, not typical. And some of the ingredients that you need for severe weather, you need some warm air in place that provides the lift that you need for those thunderstorms to potentially become severe. And you also need some sort of moisture. And those two things are going to be in abundance here. We'll have temperatures in the upper 70s tomorrow. So it's still warm tomorrow. Low temperature is only 70 degrees tonight. So the warm air and all that moisture, that's going to be fuel for thunderstorms. Anything that develops tonight into tomorrow
could be severe because that warm air and all that moisture is increasing that instability. I was looking over weather models today, and instability is even higher than it was last Friday. We don't have the same type of with all the ingredients available like we did last week with that event, but still with that instability being so high, you can absolutely get some severe thunderstorms here. So that warm air is a big factor in why we're making tomorrow a first alert weather day.
I'm curious, Brittany, because we had such an outbreak of tornadoes last Friday in various parts of the Mid-South. You have West Tennessee, Covington, McNairy County. You have Arkansas with Wynne, Arkansas. You have a portion of DeSoto County as well. Is there any indication of where this 3 out of 5 is going to be affecting the most? I know it's kind of early and it's probably the large swath of the Mid-South, but I didn't know if there was any indication that it was going to be north of us, coming up from the south, or anything like that.
Yeah, it mostly looks like it's going to be north. Few reasons why. So you can see that that orange color, that 3 out of 5 risk level, stretching from Memphis all the way into Ohio, into Michigan. So pretty large portion here of the U.S. under that 3 out of 5. There's a low pressure system, and attached to that is a front. As that front moves south and east, it is going to start to fall apart. So it's strongest in our northern counties as it initially starts to move in, again, interacting with all that warm air we were talking about. So West Tennessee, eastern Arkansas, and a little portion of DeSoto County, you'll notice under that 3 out of 5. As that front starts to move its way off to the south, it starts to stall out. So you'll get it right around this area, stalling out, meaning it kind of just breaks down. It starts to fall apart. And so once it gets into North Mississippi and it starts to do that, it loses all that energy. It loses that instability pretty quickly. And so you'll get that rain parked in North Mississippi late tonight into early tomorrow. But once it gets there, it's not going to have that energy anymore. And that's why that area is under a lower threat, because that's where that front is going to start to fall apart. So you'll see it much stronger when it initially moves into spots like Blytheville and Dyersburg and Jonesboro, and then gradually weakening as we get later in the evening tonight and as that front starts to push south, if that answers your question.
It certainly does. Brittany, you spell it out so easy for us to understand. We appreciate you taking time at the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
All right, so now let's talk about a time where you can sit back and laugh, right? We all need a good laugh once in a while. Stuff's pretty serious these days. The Straight Jokes No Chaser comedy tour will be at FedEx Forum this Friday. It features some veteran comedians who will appear in movies, TV shows for decades. Mike Epps, Cedric the Entertainer, Earthquake, New Generation, DC Young Fly. You may recognize him from different shows like Wild 'N Out. Tickets are on sale right now. There were only a few seats left. They're available on Ticketmaster's website if you would like to go. Also, we have Janet Jackson stopping by FedEx Forum later this month as part of her tour. Special guest, actor, recording artist Ludacris will join the show. Tickets are on sale now, also at Ticketmaster's website. Prices range from $17 to as much as $3,000. Let's talk about Ghost River Brewery here. Another 5-star story. Kim Clark has this beautiful and picturesque 5-star story.
The Ghost River meanders through more than 2,000 acres of Fayette County bottomland forests, cypress swamps, and marshes. Conservationists consider it the crown jewel of the Wolf River, which helps recharge the Memphis Sand Aquifer that provides Memphians with some of the sweetest water in the world.
The secret to the good beer is the water, because it's the natural water table here that creates the actual craft beer that we make today.
Bob Keski is the owner of the brewery, named after the Ghost River. Every can from Ghost River Brewing Company is stamped with a cypress tree, like those found in the river's wetlands. Keski bought the brewery, in operation on South Main since 2007, 3 years ago.
Born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which used to be the beer capital of the world. So beer is my thing.
Owning a brewery was new for the businessman, but thanks to the pandemic, he had time to learn.
Now I'm deep into it.
He opened a second location in July of 2021, this time on Beale Street, using his other business, Supply Chain Solutions, to help get it up and running.
We had old semi-trailers that were no longer roadworthy, so I decided to tear all the flooring, the wood flooring out of it, and repurpose it, sand it and repurpose it. So all the wood you see in the bar, both at Maine and here at Beale, and the outdoor stage is made from old semi-trailer wood, including the chairs that I'm sitting on right now.
Ghost River Brewing Company has a number of beers to choose from inside the brewery and in stores, with names like Zippin' Pippin, Grindhouse, and Rocket 88. There's even a specialty brew called Brunch Please, reminiscent of buttermilk blueberry pancakes.
On tap currently we have 12 that are on tap. We add another 4 that are packaged in cans, sell at retail. We try to make a new beer every 2 weeks.
As for why Keskey decided to open another location so close to the first one on Maine?
There's 2 reasons. The Maine brewery is a bigger production facility with a traditional tap room. We decided that we wanted to put our brewery and the name, the Ghost River name, in a very popular area of Memphis where people can walk to. And we're on the side of Beale that has kind of been forgotten over the years. So we're on the east end or towards 4th Street part of Beale. To try to liven this part of Beale, it's everything. It's a sports bar, it's a family venue, it's a music venue.
As for food, it's there too, but Keskey outsourced that side of the business to New Wing Order.
So New Wing Order was a food truck company, very popular, and I placed them in here in the first brick and mortar restaurant.
Ghost River on Beale is an official Green Bay Packers bar, and you'll find a lot of Packers paraphernalia on the walls.
I brought my home to Memphis.
Don't get it twisted though. Keskey may be a Memphis transplant since 2010, but he loves this city.
We're big supporters of the Tigers as well. We go to Tiger games. We're actually formal partners with 9OFC and the Redbirds, where we actually have a partnership with them. We're massive support. Season ticket holders of the Grizzlies, have been for 11 years. Al Capone comes and does his whip that trick thing on the stage before every game.
So, be it South Maine or Beale, Keskey stakes his reputation on his beer and the atmosphere, and all are welcome.
So people should expect to come in there and be in an environment that is open, diverse, friendly, and they get a choice of both worlds, quiet or vibrant.
Ghost River Brewing Company, showcasing craft brews using the natural resources that make us proud to call this place home. Kim Clark, Action News 5.
One of the best interviews that you're going to see on the Action News 5 digital desk has to do with food. And each and every week or so, we interview the food reporter at the Commercial Appeal. And we have got a treat for you because Jennifer Chandler is joining us on the digital desk. And she's going to be talking about the top 10 best places for brunch, you know, either after church or with friends, having some mimosas, that sort of thing. I have to say, Jennifer, when we heard that we were talking with you about brunch, everyone in the newsroom, they lit up with their own little responses and what they liked and what they didn't like. How was it like putting together this list?
Well, actually, it was a very daunting task. So I got the help of my newsroom. So this was kind of a collaboration effort for the newsroom at the Commercial Appeal. And I had everyone share what their favorite brunch spot was, and they went out to them and they did little mini reviews and told us what their favorite dishes are. So it was a really fun story to write. I like doing these collaboration things because sometimes they're ones that, you know, maybe weren't on my list before that I think I need to revisit.
Well, that's awesome. There are some on the list that I recognize, and there are some that I haven't been to yet. So I'm eager to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, well, let's get going. So the first one on the list is the Beauty Shop, and that's in the Cooper Young neighborhood and has been around for a very long time, very beloved, known for its Saturday and Sunday brunches. Michaela Watts, that was her favorite pick, and she went her go-to order there is the Eggs Benedict, which you can get many different ways, but she likes the kind of traditional one that's done with brown sugar honey ham. That's what you see in that picture right there. And it has a really velvety hollandaise on it, a little arugula, to give it a modern spin. And she often orders it. They have this manchego and arugula and nectarine salad that she sometimes gets on the side with it. But it's a really good brunch spot. They've got great brunch cocktails as well. So Beauty Shop, classic fun place to go for a Saturday or Sunday brunch.
For sure.
Next on the list is Magnolia in May. And Ray Padilla, who's our digital editor, likes to go there. And this is a tiny little restaurant by Chip and Amanda Dunham that is located off of Mendenhall. If you know where Gibson's and Gus's Fried Chicken is right there, kind of at Mendenhall, it's kind of tucked away on that side street behind Gus's. And it is a true neighborhood brasserie little restaurant, and it's always fun to go there. And they do serve brunch. And Ray's favorite dish there is the tacos con Memphis, which has a fun name. But those are just a really good loaded breakfast egg taco. So Magnolia, May, and East Memphis. Have you been there before?
I have, and what I also liked about it, Jennifer, is that it's this funky place. It's a little funky in there. It's like I think the silverware that you just saw, or the plates, there just kind of lets you know, has that connection to just kind of a funky, cool spot in Memphis. I love it.
Yeah, it's actually kind of feels like a midtown restaurant in East Memphis, if I dare say that.
Exactly.
Kind of has that vibe.
I like that. That's a good description.
Okay. Yeah. So, the next one on the list is one of my favorite, which is Edge Alley that I got to write about. And Edge Alley is located, actually that picture, we'll go back a minute. That's the liquor store. Then I'll go back to Edge Alley. So the liquor store is the picture that's up right now. And that one was with Corinne Kennedy. That was her favorite place. And that's on Broad Avenue. And it's got this really kind of cool, like Miami Cuban diner vibes inside. It's just Natalie Lieberman of Collect and Curate. It was one of her first big projects here in Memphis. It's really kind of cool retro feel to it. And one of their dishes, there's a signature, and it was also Corinne's favorite, is the sweet potato hash, which comes with eggs on top, and you can order a meat to go with it as well. And you can order bacon or sausage, but they have Cuban pork, and that's what Corinne recommended that she gets it with. And so that's a really kind of fun place to go. I really like their breakfast tacos. They've got fun cocktails on the menu too. I think that's kind of a requisite when you're going to brunch with friends, is to if you want to have a cocktail too, but they've got a great list of stuff on their menu. So let's go back to Edge Alley, which was one of the ones that I wrote about. So Edge Alley was this restaurant that I discovered back when the Commercial Appeals offices were in that big building, that iconic building on Union. This was kind of basically where I would go and get my lunch for a quick and easy lunch, or a quick and easy, cup of coffee, because it was literally like one block over. It's in the Edge District. And I kind of fell in love with it there. And it's kind of a neat, interesting space that Tim Barker has put together. He's the chef and owner, and he makes everything from scratch. I mean, when I talk about everything, he roasts his own coffee beans, for the Bloody Marys, he makes his own Bloody Mary mix. He even makes his crackers that he serves because he's right next to a brewery. And he uses some of their leftover, I guess it's the mash from the brewery, and he will use that to make crackers. But I have two go-to orders there. So if I'm feeling very hungry, I will get the steak and eggs, and they are perfectly cooked tenderloins with a perfectly cooked eggs on the side. Actually really, really great. It comes with a chimichurri sauce. I really, really love it. And then the picture, what you see right here, this is his ham and cheese quiche, which is like no other you will find in town, because he puts a layer of grainy mustard on the crust before adding the filling. And so it's kind of very reminiscent of a ham and cheese sandwich. It's kind of crazy, but it really, really works. And definitely,
I love it.
Favorite drink there. When I said that he roasts his own coffee beans, I have lots of non-alcoholic coffee drinks that I like there, like his How Now Brown Cow, which is a salted caramel coffee latte. But the one I say to get is, oh my gosh, I'm gonna draw the blank on the name right now that I'm sitting here. He has one that's, it's like, I think it's called the Good Stuff. It's a bourbon spiked coffee drink. It's a really great way to start your brunch. So moving on down the list, Sunrise Memphis is a Memphis favorite. And now they have 2 locations. They have one on the original on Jefferson and one on East Memphis. It's at Poplar, kind of near Yates. And this is Chef Ryan Trim has done this business, and it's great. Evan prefers, this is Evan Barnes. This was his pick. He's one of our sports reporters. And he prefers the Jefferson one because that's the one he's always been going to. And his favorite dish is the Rooster, which is a fried chicken biscuit that is pretty sinful and pretty good because they make their biscuits from scratch, and there's a little bit of spice to this dish. So the fried chicken biscuit at Sunrise, if you haven't been there, try it. Again, they have a whole bunch of fun brunch cocktails on their menu too. So were any of those one of the ones you haven't been to yet? I'm curious.
I've never been to the Edge Alley, and that looks amazing. I gotta say, I mean, anyone who roasts their own coffee beans is not playing around.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention, when you go, they have, you remember monkey bread when you were a kid, the kind of pull apart, you know, with the biscuits and the cinnamon sugar that you would make. Well, he has a grown-up version of it on the appetizer menu, and it comes, and it's like in this, it almost looks like a French pastry when it comes to your table, and it comes with a cinnamon dipping sauce, and it is so yummy. It's so good. We actually, that's awesome. It's perfect for sharing. It's big enough to share, but we kind of like ate some in the beginning, and then we saved some for dessert.
Oh, nice. Now, the liquor store, you mentioned, going back to the liquor store, Cuban influence, is that throughout the menu, throughout the day, or is that just for the breakfast?
It is throughout the day. They pretty much serve breakfast all day is what they're a diner. They have some kind of lunch type dishes as well, but there's definitely kind of a Cuban vibe before. The Toros that owned it. It recently just sold to the owners of South of Beale for just bought it actually earlier this year. But the people that started, Lisa Toro, her and her husband is, I think, of Cuban descent. He's from somewhere in like that, but I should know that, and I don't know that. But that's what the influences on that menu are. So it's not a Cuban restaurant per se, but it almost feels like a Miami restaurant, kind of like it has like a vibe of Southern stuff and Cuban stuff and American stuff. And I mean, it's an eclectic menu, but it's fun.
I can't wait to check it out. Those are definitely on my list.
So, okay, well, let's move on to Bartlett, another part of town, to Biscuits and Jams. And this is a favorite spot of mine as well. Dima Amra wrote about it. And Dima is a vegetarian. And so I always love to include her in a story because I know there's so many vegetarians and vegans in Memphis now. And you're always looking for an option of where to go. And she says that Biscuits and Jams is one of her places to go that she can find something delicious to eat. And she likes the Blueberry Hill lemon blueberry waffle, which you see there, which is light and fluffy and flavorful. It comes in a traditional one and can be ordered vegan as well. Many of the waffles and the pancakes on Biscuits and Jams menu can be ordered in as a vegan version. And she gets a side of vegan sausages to go with it. And it's really, really good. Monique Williams is the owner there. They have a fun brunch cocktail menu. I'll give you a sneak preview for Easter. They're doing peep-teenies with marshmallow peeps for Easter. But she has a breakfast eggs, like a Benedict that has like a crawfish, shrimp. I don't want to say it's an étouffée, but it's just, the sauce is so good. It's like, I think she calls it her Creole Benedict. That's one of my favorite dishes there. But if you haven't been to Biscuits and Jams and Bartlett, you need to check it out. It opened, I feel like it opened sometime around 2020. It could have opened in 2019, right before the pandemic, but it was sometime around there. So it hasn't been around very long. Next on the list is a Memphis classic, Owen Brennan's. I mean, you can't really talk about brunch in Memphis without Owen Brennan's, because they have that huge brunch buffet spread that is over the top, that has, you know, omelets made to order, which you have to give a shout out to Shorty, the omelet maker. His real name is Robert Fisher. So maybe go up to him one day and say, "Hi, Robert," and you'll surprise him because everyone calls him Shorty. But he is just always puts on such a great show when making omelets there, and they're delicious. But they'll have, you know, you can get it with crawfish étouffée on top. There's boiled shrimp. There's sometimes raw oysters. There's you name it, it's on this brunch buffet, and it's only on Sundays. And that's something to remember. And they no longer take reservations. So it is first come, first serve. So if you're going right after the church rush gets there, you may have to wait a minute. It's totally worth it. Order a cocktail and enjoy yourself outside on the patio while you wait for your table. But I always tell people to either pretty much go early as your best bet, or you can go later. But if you're hitting there around 12:15, just know that you might have a little bit of a wait. Next on the list is something a little different than when people don't necessarily think of pizza for brunch, but Hog and Hominy is one of my favorite places to go. They do have a bunch of brunch items on their menu, but you know, when I go there, I always go for the pizza. And they have two pizzas that are very kind of brunchy. The one you see here is the red eye that has that perfectly poached runny egg that when you cut into it on top. They also have a pizza called the Pruitt that has scrambled eggs on top. I mean, who would have thought? It is actually really, really good. You can start with things like they have sausage balls with Tiny Bomb mustard dipping sauce. And, you know, I always get the crab claws, which come in this like buttery garlic sauce. And here is the insider trick. When you finish the crab claws and they come to clear that plate, you say, "No way, Jose, keep that plate here." And what you do is you save that garlic butter and you dip the crust from their pizzas into the garlic butter. And it is so good. Just trust me.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And fans of Gray Canary will be glad to know that they used to be known at their brunch. This is all owned by the Andrew Michael restaurant group. Gray Canary was known for these kind of like, they had these big punch bowls that they serve for brunch. They have moved that over to Hog and Hominy now. So the punch bowls are still in Memphis. They've just moved from downtown to East Memphis. So if you're going with a group, consider ordering one of their punch bowls. It's kind of a fun thing to do. Now, moving down our list is another Memphis staple, Brother Juniper's over by the University of Memphis. I mean, I don't even know how long, I should have looked up how long that restaurant has been around, but it is a tried and true classic. Always fun. Does not take reservations either. And, you know, but it's a fun, you know, when you're standing there and you're waiting, it's a very casual place, and it's always a good vibe, even if you have to wait 15, 20 minutes for a table. So one of our new photographers, Chris Day, this was his pick, and he says the sausage gravy and biscuits is his favorite thing. He says, you know, that's such a Southern thing, and he says that they do it perfectly. Their biscuits are awesome. So if you want a very casual brunch experience, head over to Brother Juniper's. You know, they're also known for their open face omelets that are so good. They've got pretty much everything breakfast on the menu. So definitely Brother Juniper's. Okay, and then we're going to round out to the last one, which is one I have not been to. But Gina Butkovich, who covers our DeSoto County coverage, she picked a restaurant that was in South Haven. And I have to giggle because I have had a mimosa bong or a mimosa tower. They call them bongs. I've heard them called towers before, as you see in this picture. But the 10th Inning Sports Bar and Grill has that. And I don't know if any place else in Memphis does. One of my daughters went to school in Colorado, and there was a restaurant in Boulder that had these giant mimosa things, and I would take her and maybe 6 or 7 of her friends out, and we would drink those. Her senior year, of course, when she was over 21. But it's kind of a fun, you know, casual thing to do with friends is to go and have a mimosa bong at 10th Inning Sports Bar and Grill. And she says the food is good too. So I'm going to have to add that to my list and probably arrange for a designated driver.
That looks amazing. Wow. You know, saying 10th inning, you knocked that out of the park there, Jennifer Chandler. Once again.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons I think of spring, and I was thinking, Easter is coming up, and so that kind of got me on the brunch mode. So that's why we kind of, and I know there are places that should have been on this list, but we had to limit it to 10, and because otherwise we'd be the entire paper talking about brunch. But check out on Friday my list of places doing Easter brunch specials. We'll publish online at commercialappeal.com. So if you're thinking of on the fence of where you want to go for Easter brunch, all of these will be perfect. But I also have a list of places that are doing special menus, or some are doing prefix menus. There are a few restaurants that are not normally open for brunch that will be open for brunch on Easter. So definitely check out that story too, if brunch is your favorite thing, and especially for Easter.
And that's what we call in the industry a tease. Jennifer Chandler, we appreciate it so much. Each and every time you come on, that brunch list looks phenomenal. Thanks so much. Again, Commercial Appeal, commercialappeal.com/food. Jennifer, thanks.
Great. Bye.
55 years ago, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in downtown Memphis, April 4th, 1968. And on this anniversary, the AFSCME it has released a first episode of a brand new podcast, 5 episodes of a podcast called I Am a Story. AFSCME, of course, standing for the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees. AFSCME, very prominent in Memphis. It details the history and the legacy of the 1968 Memphis sanitation workers strike. That's why Dr. King was in town back during this time 55 years ago today. I'm joined now on the Action News 5 digital desk by Dr. Michael Honey. He's featured prominently in a new podcast that it is launching today and covered the Memphis sanitation strike 55 years ago. Dr. Honey, good morning. Tell me about this podcast.
The podcast is really, can you hear me all right?
I sure can. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm talking to you from California at a friend's house, so hopefully this is all right. Yeah, the podcast is quite extensive. It's a series of, rather short pieces, but they add up to an overview of a lot. And a lot of it's about the workers, of course, and quite a bit of it's about Dr. King. So it's really, I wrote a book called Going Down Jericho Road, Martin Luther King, the Memphis sanitation strike, his last campaign. And that's kind of the way the series goes. It's the meeting of 2 streams. One is the civil rights and freedom movement led by Dr. King coming into Memphis at the request of Reverend James Lawson and the movement in Memphis. And the other stream is the workers themselves, who deserve all the credit really for the movement that was going on, where for more than 6 weeks, 1,300 men had been going out every single day on the picket line and on marches and mass meetings in the churches, and the clergy were all involved. It was a tremendous movement in Memphis. And so when King came here, he recognized what it was, and that's when he gave his March 18th speech. All labor has dignity, and we've collected that in a book of Martin Luther King's speeches called All Labor Has Dignity.
So we have this this podcast that you are starting, I Am Story. Tell me about the podcast. It is the first episode, and I'm a podcaster, so it kind of details the history of the Memphis sanitation strike in 1968. Is that right?
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, they interviewed me for, I think, 4 hours, and then they distilled that and many other people that they've interviewed, and workers and people locally in Memphis. They've been working on this for at least, 6 months to my knowledge, and probably longer. So I haven't actually heard it because it's publishing today, and people can find it by going to the I Am story online. So I can't tell you everything that's in it, but I know that it's a very consequential documentation of what happened in Memphis. And people in Memphis should, feel good in a way that this story is so well remembered. In other parts of the country, also in Memphis, we celebrate Dr. King's birthday on January 15th. But April 4th has a special significance. It was right before Easter, and it was a time of religious reckoning and prophecy. And it was a moment where working class, poor Black men stood up for a better life, for union recognition, and for, it was about wages, because they were all making poverty wages. But it was a question of dignity and recognition and being treated like people who could bargain and work with the city to try to improve the situation. And that's where that slogan comes from, I am a man.
Yeah. Memphians, we know this story. We talk about it every year, especially on this anniversary, the Lorraine Motel, now the National Civil Rights Museum. But I'm always curious on how people who live elsewhere across the country, when they visit Memphis and they go to the Civil Rights Museum, what they take from it. And I'm curious, you're in California right now. Have you been to Memphis? Have you been to the Civil Rights Museum? And offer some reflection about your visit here, if you came here.
Yeah. Oh, I've been to Memphis so many times, I can't count. I wrote 3 books basically about Memphis. And one was about the period before all this happened in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. And then another book was about the sanitation strike, All Labor Has Dignity, and Going Down Jericho Road. And more recently, a book called To the Promised Land, Martin Luther King's Fight for Economic Justice. And for each one of those research projects, I came to Memphis all the time. And I lived in Memphis for 6 years as a civil rights and civil liberties organizer from 70 to 76, after Dr. King was killed, and before I went to graduate school and started doing this kind of research. So I'm amazed at the National Civil Rights Museum. I came when they first were opening it in early 1990, I think it was. And then 1993, we had a big conference there. But every time I come to Memphis, I go there, and it's always even better than it was the time before. And I think what people take away from it, it was encapsulated to me the last time I went there. You walk through the museum and you see all the different stages of the civil rights and Black freedom movement and labor movement, such as the Southern Tenant Farmers Union in Arkansas in the 30s. And then you end up walking by the trucks where the sanitation workers, did their work, life-size. And eventually you come to Dr. King's room, 306, and you're looking into the room and you see the bed where he would have been sleeping and a little table. But then there's a window that goes out on the balcony that you can see through there to the balcony, which was where he was shot. And the last time I was there, I was just looking there, sort of contemplating what had happened. And there was a young white man down below on the patio, looking up, and there's a wreath outside of room 306. And suddenly he just went like this and he started crying. And I thought, that's it. I mean, when you go through that museum, you cannot help but be really moved by the pathos and the tragedy, and also the glory of Dr. King and these workers.
It's a nice illustration. I appreciate that. I agree with you. It's a very emotional museum to walk through and to take in, and you can't help but feel all kinds of emotions when you walk through it and when you leave too. It's certainly a lasting memory. Anything else you wanted to mention before we let you go, Dr. Honey?
Sure. I would urge people, there was a period of time when the Memphis strike was sort of ignored. The big books about Dr. King all left with Dr. King being killed in Memphis, but they didn't tell that the Memphis movement was as significant probably as the Montgomery bus boycott. These are sort of bookends on Dr. King's life. And now we have a rich historiography on labor and civil rights. It's not just one thing, it's both things. And of course, King was really great at bringing together the issues: war, racism, militarism, poverty. These things are all interrelated. We have to have a structural change and a moral change, what he called a moral revolution. And so now people can really find out about all of this material that once upon a time, was sort of hidden from the public. So the I Am a Man, or I Am Story is one way, a podcast. Another thing I would direct people to is this book, Revolutionary Nonviolence, Organizing for Freedom, by James Lawson, who, was the Black minister who organized a lot of the strike in the community. And just finishing our talk here, he gives us hope, really, for the future. And this is the generation, he says, that is facing all of the problems. We're perhaps the first generation who are contending with the full spectrum of issues that affect the human family. I submit that nonviolence is the only way to make progress for the well-being of the family. It's the only way that we can proceed toward equality, liberty, and justice in the beloved community. There are never any guarantees, but it's important to act as if it were possible to radically transform the world. So I would urge you to pick up this book by James Lawson. It's very short. It gives you the basic ideas of how to organize in a good way, without violence and leading toward significant social change.
Okay, Dr. Michael Honey, I really appreciate this conversation on the 55th anniversary of Dr. King's death, a civil rights historian and certainly someone, a scholar of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and legacy. We appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Good morning. There's a 3 out of 5 for severe weather threat tomorrow. You don't have to worry about any severe weather today, but that 3 out of 5 is for everyone in West Tennessee, most of eastern Arkansas, a little sliver of DeSoto County. Damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, all possible. But the main thing that we'll be monitoring here with this weather system will be those damaging winds. That's where I'm putting it a medium threat for that. Low threat for tornado and hail. Again, still possible to see those two things, though. And everyone likely will see some heavy rain with this system. So let's talk timing. Today, as I said, we're not going to see any severe weather. Might see a stray shower around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, and we'll deal with the clouds all day today. Now, an isolated strong thunderstorm can't be ruled out overnight tonight into early tomorrow in eastern Arkansas, but it looks like greatest threat will be up towards Jonesboro and north going to the Missouri Boot Heel. This is 9 a.m. Still not much showing up, but in the afternoon, instability levels are going to skyrocket. Anything that develops could be severe. You could get a spin that creates a tornado. You could get some damaging wind gusts right around lunchtime. This is 12:30 from Tipton County into Dyer County, even in Shelby County in spots like Memphis, Bartlett, Cordova, getting that potential for some heavy rain and thunderstorms. 5 o'clock, those thunderstorms continue in Shelby County into Fayette County, North Mississippi, from Olive Branch all the way down to Clarksdale, getting some strong to severe storms. After sunset, though, so after 7 o'clock, those instability levels drop. Now, you will still have a lot of heavy rain, especially in West Tennessee and North Mississippi along and south of I-40. As that front stalls out, it's going to keep that rain around. So we'll see that threat for everything else drop significantly, but you'll see an increase in that flash flooding threat by late Wednesday into early Thursday. Those wind gusts tomorrow will probably be around 30 to 35 miles per hour for most of the day. If you get a severe thunderstorm, those gusts could go up to 50 miles per hour. Plan for power outages tomorrow, just in case you want to have the flashlights and everything ready to go. Now, we'll end up with about 2 inches of rain in North Mississippi. Like I said, that's a spot where we'll have to watch for flash flooding as that front stalls out. It'll stick around probably through Thursday morning at the very least in Oxford and Marks. About 1 inch of rain expected to Memphis and closer to a ½ inch in our northern counties. Today, you won't have any rain, but you will have the clouds. 79 degrees at noon, 82 at 1 o'clock. with that wind in place, may not still be the best day to sit on the patio, even with that warm weather. Because winds today will be whipping 25 to 30 miles per hour, and you'll have windy conditions tonight too. But the high today in Memphis is 85, 86 in Somerville, mid 80s in Brownsville and in Ripley, right around 85 degrees in Tunica, 86 in Olive Branch, but 87 in Ashland, 88 degrees in Oxford today. Very warm, and it will also feel more humid, and then lower to mid 80s from Marion, Mariana into Helena. If you want more details on the temperatures today and on those severe weather chances, you can look at First Alert Futurecast on our First Alert weather app. Just search for WMC in the App Store, and you can download that one for free. So we're in the 80s today, a low temperature around 70 tonight, 77 tomorrow. Warm air again is one of the ingredients you need for that severe weather. We'll have temperatures in the mid 60s on Thursday and then lower 60s Friday. So temperatures are going to drop behind Wednesday's cold front. And then over the weekend, I can't completely rule out a stray shower Saturday, but it looks like the weekend will be mostly dry and no rain expected Sunday.
All right, that does it for us here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon. It's going to be warm out there. Enjoy the day. We have Action News 5's midday report coming up with Ariana Poindexter. She'll be talking about the news and events of the day and the day ahead, and also First Alert Weather Day tomorrow. So we're going to be busy tomorrow. Make sure you join us bright and early on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Amanda Hansen will start the hour 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Take care.